so in virtualization, we do use sysprep, or we use it on that machine only, which will be in fact used for making clones, thousands and thousands and thousands of clones. This is also called, that template, and that machine. This machine is called exactly template machine. Is called template machine, and the in the job environment they call it golden image as well. Template. This machine is called template machine or golden image. In VMware class, you will see that it this term is actually being used officially by VMware, that it is a golden image, right? So this is the detail for sysprep, and template machine is used only to make clones. Sysprep must be used on a template machine or a golden image, the same name, two names for the same thing. And sysprep's main purpose is to give unique SIDs to every clone. That's the main purpose. Otherwise, if they don't have unique SIDs, anyone knows what happens. If the clones do not have unique SIDs, unique SIDs, and SID is what? Exactly right. Security identifier. Nobody said anything. Okay. So, identifier, security identifier. Just make sure that you know exactly all that in an interview. You start talking, you don't stop until they have to stop you, right? With relevant information, obviously. So,
so the question comes, say, if I want to actually try this at home on my time, like not even turn, I don't want to turn off that, I mean shut down with the sysprep, right?
You don't want to, okay.
So, and then I want to just see how it's going to...
Oh yeah, sure. If, one of us...
Is that a good practice?
Like, you want to test that if we don't shut it down with sysprep and make a clone out of that, so what happens?
Yeah.
So, one of us might have already done it for you to see the result of that. But but in every class, one or two students are, this is the first time we're doing, right? It's not like we're doing every day. So mistakes can happen. But what will happen is, when I ask you to join, we're going to have two machines, right? And one machine is domain controller, second machine is joining the domain. When it is joining, it say, whoa, my SID, I'm the domain controller, and my SID and your SID is same. So I'm not letting you join now.
Okay.
So if it doesn't join the network, we're stuck.
There's no manual way, like a PowerShell kind of script to change that security ID? Is that like a randomized number that's
It's a randomized unique number.
Okay.
So
there's no way of changing
PowerShell can do that, but PowerShell will still use in the background sysprep. Sysprep only does that. This means. Okay, so we get that, and sysprep was used. So yesterday, in last class, or in last episode, last class we created a template machine. Now we're creating and building our environment slowly, and we're understanding that's why it's slow as well. We should not be in rush anyway, because we need to understand what we're talking about. So last class we created template VM, or virtual machine, and we shut it down with sysprep. We also gave it 4 MB RAM, so this machine can never be started accidentally. So with 4 MB RAM, obviously the template machine must not be able to start. If it's 4 MB RAM, this is not enough RAM to start a virtual machine, any machine. So now the next steps, and that's a lot, but we're gonna make sure that we understand what we're doing, right? And click is not the purpose. But also, guys, don't expect all the concepts to be very crystal clear the first time. Sometimes you have to repeat the concept, then you understand a little more of it, then you understand it. So majority of the students said, who were the first time seeing this, or going through the course, that okay, first course was like, I tried my best and I would not be able to understand some of it, and but on second course, third course, it all started getting clear to me. So this is normal. that if you're not able to understand pretty much everything, or well, that's not allowed. Okay, majority of the things, then second course, third course. By third course, you're so confident. When you repeat the first course after that, everything is like opening like a crystal clear concept. Everything is clear. Yeah.
Sorry.
Around.
The term you're using here, to shut down, right? Like, if we don't start that machine, the template machine, right, and we clone it without the sysprep, isn't it like considered shut down already?
So you can only create clone when it is shut down. If it is started, you cannot even clone feature is disabled, right? So second thing is it should be shut down with sysprep if you want to create clones with unique SID. Otherwise, you can still create clones, but
I understand, but what are we shutting down?
the template machine.
No, I just, you see, the question comes, it's almost like this term of shut down,
Mm-hmm.
right? So, you see, like, we turn down the machine in the virtual machine, right? So it's off, right? So when it's off, we're creating clones,
Yeah.
correct? But what is it that sysprep, what kind of service it shuts down in that template machine that kind of allows that, SID to work properly than the other clones? Like, what
Yeah.
is it that it's shut down? Like, the machine itself, isn't it already shut down?
Well, the thing is that when clone is being created, an exact copy of it is being created. So some starting boot services and some of the services that might give that kind of information that will make it a totally similar,
Okay.
machine. So those services are normally shut down, which will prevent the clone to be totally exact 100% same copy. So machine is shut down, but those services are specially shut down, which are normally boot files, as well as the boot files are actually pointing or mapping to some other files which are going to make that clone totally similar. So those services are shut down. So when those are shut down, thanks to sysprep, that this machine will not be an exact copy. So its SID is not copied. That's the main thing, and SID is placed inside a configuration file that is shut down as well.
So in like Linux kernel,
Mhm.
like every kernel is like unique, right?
Yeah,
So,
exactly.
so it does the same thing. Sysprep, like it just
In
goes
every
into the
OS.
core and it deactivates the core.
Exactly.
So it doesn't copy the same core like to other.
Yes, exactly. The portion of the core that identifies itself with a unique ID, that especially
Okay.
that is not copied. And other than that, everything is copied.
Because my imagination is like this machine is already shut down.
Yeah, what is it doing special then?
Yeah,
Exactly.
like, what are we
How is
shutting
it
down?
unique? How is it making it unique? It doesn't grab that thing. If sysprep really shuts down that thing. That hey, not this portion of the kernel, don't copy because it will make this clone exact similar.
Thank you.
Cool. Welcome, sir. Okay, guys. So now what we're gonna do is next steps are that let's create two clones. First we create two clones. Now, while creation, we have to be careful as well that where are we placing those two clones, and then let's change their RAM to. Now we have a lot of RAM, 32 GB RAM. That's very good, right? So when we are creating two clones will be created, and obviously they will be having the same RAM as the template machine, which is 4 MB RAM, and we need to start the clones actually. So we're going to change the RAM to 8 GB each, and two processors are already there. So and then after changing the RAM, let's power on both clones. We're going to do that then. Then we will be asked to put new password for each clone because it's not gonna grab the password for what we gave to the template machine. So we will give class password, and yesterday I put that, but I'm just gonna put that here as well. Small ABC, capital ABC, keep pressing shift 1 2 3. Or if you're using your own password, make sure that you don't forget that. So here we will be asked to put the new password. Once we log in from both clones, from both clones or two copies of the machine, then we will do the following steps that need to be done. Really important. First thing, activate each clone for 180 days. How many months are these? 6 months. Okay, 180 days or 6 months. Second thing is give, okay, change its VMNet. Anyone remembers what was the part of VMNet? From NAT to VMNet 15. Anyone remembers what was VMNet? Okay, anyone remembers? Yes. So it's like VLAN or you said, sorry? VLAN. Exactly. So it is VLAN. This means VMNet 15. Suppose we choose instead of NAT. NAT gives internet. We don't no longer need internet after it is activated. You know, trial machines, they have to be connected to internet. As soon as they are connected to internet, the first 10 seconds, some files are downloaded in the background automatically because it detects, oh, I'm a trial version. Oh, do I have internet? I'm programmed to download files that will activate me for 180 days. So it does that automatically. If you connect the trial version to internet, right away it downloads automatically the files that will activate it for 6 months. Now every feature is available for 6 months to be tested. That is more than enough for us to have every feature available. So activate each clone for 180 days. That's what we're going to do. But after that, we no longer need internet. So after activation, we no longer need internet connection. So then the second thing is change its VMNet from NAT to change, not its, each machine's VMNet. Each VM, start calling it VMs. Each VMs, because they are virtual machines, VMNet from NAT to VM15. And the third thing is change its IP to static IP. Now, difference between static IP and dynamic IP.
Randomly generated versus fixed.
So, dynamic IP is randomly generated by who? So you're saying randomly generated.
Range, right?
Yeah, so we give a range. We're about to install DHCP as well. So we give a range, and from this, sequentially it distributes IP, first IP to first machine, whoever requested, second IP to second machine, third IP to third machine, fourth IP to fourth machine. So either we give these machines dynamic IP or we give static. Why are we giving static IP to these servers? Any particular reason for that? Static IP. So I'll just put that dynamic IPs are given to non-critical network resources, while static are given to critical network resources. What does that mean? Why would you consider servers as critical network resource? What? Yes, thousands of people might be connected to one server. The server goes down because of DHCP. Thousands of people are disconnected, and productivity on large level is lost. So you need to really not depend on DHCP to give IPs to the servers, right? So that's why printer, router, servers, they are critical resources. Hundreds or thousands of users are connecting to it, right? So if they go down, hundreds of thousands of users are affected. This means it's a critical resource, right? So dynamic IP are given to none. So remember that. So dynamic IP will be given to all the, suppose you have 10,000 Windows 10, Windows 7, Windows 8 machines. So yes, this one machine for one user. So that's why it's non-critical. So let it have IP from DHCP, all the end user client machines, and the server side should be given static IP because thousands of users will be connecting to that. So our static IP configuration for each clone will be like this. Clone 1, we're gonna give computer name equals, so we're gonna keep it simple. Server 01 for first clone, and its IP equals 192.168.200.1. Its subnet mask SM equals 255.255.255.0, and then gateway GW is 192.168.200. Now, what is the purpose of a gateway?
The door where you enter and exit.
So gateway is exactly as I said, that your data from your network goes out to the internet through gateway device, and from internet it comes back to your local network through gateway device. Now in our private network here, we don't need actually a gateway. It's a very small network anyway, right? So, but in production environment, you will see that there will be a gateway IP pretty much in every machine, in companies, their servers. So just to see it there as a habit, we're putting it, we don't need gateway right now. But we're just putting that IP, and we're saying that, hey, our 200.1 is the gateway. Normally 200.1 or the first server is never a gateway. First server is never a gateway, right? So it is always a router that is a gateway, or a firewall. Normally it's a router that is a gateway. So through that, the network, so, and router is connected to ISP next, and then the all the data is gone. So suppose we're just pretending this is a router, but it's not. We're just putting some IP because you're gonna see those IPs in production environment always. And then there is PD. Anyone know what's PD? Preferred DNS. So preferred, we're about to give their static IP. At that time, also we're going to talk about that. So 192.168.200. Not 290, 200.1. Now I'm just going to go ahead and put that this is preferred DNS. This is gateway. This is subnet mask. This is IP address, right? So, and that's computer name, right? So we get that preferred DNS is what? Well, if I ask you, even if you're a hi-fi hotshot system administrator, this question always comes in interviews. What is DNS? And sometimes I'm like, once I was offended actually. I'm applying for a level 3 job. Obviously, don't you think I know DNS? But anyway, I was like, okay. I was like, don't you think I knew it? When I was, yes, DNS is, it's a name resolution protocol, and it resolves host names to IP addresses, IP address to host name. You just keep on talking. There's a forward lookup zone, there's a reverse lookup zone, and then forward lookup zone resolves computer name to IP address, reverse lookup zone resolves IP address to computer names, and you keep talking until they shut you up. It's good. Because this means you know a lot of it, and they're like, whoa, okay. That was, that was a basic question. But DNS does come your way. Always memorize that. Start with that. It is a name resolution protocol. Sometimes very simple questions, we are struggling to answer them, and we know exactly what they are, but we don't have words for it. Because, and I've, some of my students in previous courses, they were asked very simple thing, and they spent like 4 hours to do that lab with me. We talked about again and again and again. In the interview, one student was asked, what is WSUS, Windows Server Update Services? It's responsibility to update all thousands of clients with Windows updates, right? So what is WSUS? And she was like, um, um, sorry. I was like, what? You did not prepare for interview. Are you kidding me? That was the easiest one. So, and I thought she was one of the good ones who was really doing all the labs and practicing at home. She didn't have words at that time to really express give a definition of a very simple thing. So, even DNS, students were just, stuttering. It's like, what? So, memorize it. It is a name resolution protocol which resolves host names to IP addresses, and IP addresses to host names, right? So eyes on the prize. Interview. You need to pass the interview. You need to really convince the interviewer you're the dude.
I just call it aliases.
Okay.
In programming, like
Oh,
it's DNS is like you just put alias one, alias two.
that is here. It is then CNAME record. There are some resource records that you create. So alias is another terminology as well used. So DNS would be, this one line you start and they would know right away. Okay, let's go ahead. We don't have to really discuss all that. But if they're quiet, this means they want you to keep on talking. If they're quiet, if you're quiet as well after one sentence, and then like, oh, you're done. Okay, so so that's like, huh? So anyway, the definitions, you really need to take them seriously. Now let's just go ahead and I'm just gonna go for the clone number 2. Obviously that would be the next one, and we're gonna configure that. But if you're understanding what we're doing, we're good, right? So clone 2 will be, we're not gonna refer to them clone 2 anymore after they are created, but right now they haven't even been created yet. So second clone will be server 2 and its IP address will be 2. But obviously we don't have to change subnet mask, you don't have to change gateway, you don't have to change preferred DNS. But when I was saying preferred DNS, and I say that it's a name resolution protocol, so if you have 10,000 machines in the network, all of those machines preferred DNS will be just wherever the DNS is installed. It will be just this IP. Suppose you have 10,000 machines, 100,000 machines. So they have to do name resolution with someone. They have to find a DNS in the network somewhere. So whichever computer has a DNS server, its IP will be in the preferred DNS of 100,000 machines or 10,000 machines as well, right? But we're going to install that, we're going to implement that, and we're going to discuss more about this. So right now we're going to, so the once we log in from both clones, then we will do the following steps. One is activation, very very important for our lab, exactly. And the second is change VMnet, and VMnet 15 would be the second thing we're going to do. Then give the static IP to both. So static IP would be the third thing to do. And the fourth thing is, obviously I did not separately mention that, so it's rename the machines. And so it will be rename each OS to, first one server 01 and other one, second one will be server 02, and restart. Obviously you have to restart after rename, you have to restart as well, so otherwise it won't successfully rename that. And the final thing is, once restarted, then before logging in, we need to take a snapshot. This is the most important, one of the most important thing. Take a snapshot, do not forget that, because snapshot is what? Point in time backup. Point in time backup. Snapshot, it freezes the configurations. So snapshot is point in time backup. It freezes the configurations. So point in time backup snapshot. So and what it can do is, suppose you've taken a snapshot today and you kept on working and working every day, you're creating new labs and lots of configuration until you really messed up the machine. Now you want to go back to where it was working fine, so you can go back to this snapshot where it was just given, it was activated, it was renamed, and it was static IP given. So that's the initial state. At least these three things we don't have to do when we create a new virtual machine, right? So that's why we take a snapshot, so we can go back to a certain point where it was working fine. So we have to reach these 5 points now. We have to do these 5 tasks, and when we are done, then we're going to go for the next phase of the lab. So I'm just so next steps, and that is create clones and then do the 5 configurations. Then we're going to go for actually configuration. Server 1 will be our target. On server 1 we're going to create our whole domain, the network of Microsoft. We're going to install DNS, we're going to configure DNS, we're going to configure DHCP. I hope you may have created the its machine at home. I mean that same machine. We were not able to see the video. Okay, so now you have weekend coming, and day 1, day 2, we're going slow right now, so not a lot of work. But in next weeks you will see that within 2 days we'll be achieving.
I need help. I couldn't find it.
Yeah, sure, I'll be then helping all of us. Well, You did ask, Mary?
I couldn't actually get a chance. Like she
Oh,
was
okay.
on the phone,
She
so
was busy.
I called back and then.
So in the break, do ask to create a, because we need to share the material. So I'll be in the break. I'll be just sharing the material before the before you leave. Better in the break. Well, if we are not in a hurry for a coffee, because I will be. So, but thing is, I'll just make sure. So I think you guys have all, you three have the. I think I've added you already. So I'm gonna help you to simply just see where it is. It's in the OneNote. So I'll be helping you do that. Where it is. Alright, guys. So now once you go to the OneNote, this whole thing that I wrote is copied there in your OneNote as well automatically. In everyone's OneNote, it is already there. So, well, I'll wait until you're done writing, and then we do the lab. Woohoo! Yay! Okay, or yay. Yeah, that's what I was getting to. That really. Hmm? No, it's okay. Writing is the best thing.
So we should write this down.
Well, the thing is that once you have it in OneNote, so whatever I type here, automatically it gets copied to your OneNote. Wow, what else you need? So when it's there, you really don't have to write, because we have very less time in terms of what we need to achieve. There's long list of labs coming your way, right? And that will only increase our confidence and experience and knowledge. So that's why, and you use technology now, and I'm doing all the effort. You'll be like, "Hi, teach. Are you done with that writing? I'm just waiting here on my OneNote. It's not there yet. So can you? Okay. So I'll be doing all the effort now. So, but that's a very good thing. And George Brown also introduced that to my current class, and they was, wow, okay, you do all the effort. We don't have to write down. Come on, everything is copied in your OneNote. So they're all connected to each other once I share that, and I've shared with 3 emails. So if you are inside OneNote, you already should be seeing that, because I shared it as well. Okay, anyway, let's start doing that, guys. So are we all connected to our machine? Machine. So that machine obviously need not be started because we're about to create clones. And again, the Einstein formula is I no click, you no click, right? Oh, okay. Okay, so there we are, and I'm just gonna show this machine now, and I hope, yeah, it's recording. Okay, that's good. Now I'll just zoom in, and when I, so you should be seeing a machine with this date, 6 November. I hope everyone's seeing that, and it is off. So right click on this machine, first left click and then right click, because left click just selects it. So select that machine, and once now you right click, you can see down, do you see manage here? So again, right click, and do we see manage? And in the manage, do you see clone? So let me know if you're there. Anyone not there, let me know.
Not that.
Uh-huh.
So first,
Yep.
highlight the machine. Create new machine.
No, select machine on the left side. On the left side.
Left click on it. This is your machine. Yeah. Just right click now. Right click. Right click. Okay. Manage. Just cancel that. Take ownership. Cancel.
Oh, an ownership thing. Yeah, that means that the VM workstation was by mistake opened 2 times. So it happens. I do that all the time as well. So the thing is, I'm gonna close this VM workstation, and there is one more over here. So here, now when you click that, it's okay, and then right click. I'll show you. Yeah. So now right click. Manage. And clone. There you are. So I'm there. And stay there. Yeah. Yes, sir. You good? Oh. So yeah, we're not supposed to start. So Control Alt. Control Alt. Control Alt. No. So keep us in control and then Alt. Yeah. Now the mouse is outside of the virtual thing, and then just right click here and power off, because we're not supposed to power it on. So power. Yeah. And power off. Go ahead. Yeah. And power off. Now select it. Right click it. Yeah. clone. There you are. Very good. Okay, we're on clone, Cool. And oh yeah. So, sitting is the biggest killer. So I'll just, because then I'll be able to go for quick help fast. All right, so now once you're in the clone, so if I click that, you should see this wizard here. Now this wizard is showing, yeah, welcome, blah blah blah, whatever. So it's just creating a clone, right? So let's click next. And the current state in the virtual machine, yes, whatever the state is, we have it is in the shutdown state, so we nothing to do here. So if you are on the screen, click next. Now here, let's take a a small stop here. So what is the difference between linked clone and full clone? Linked clone is that it is linked to that it is linked to that template machine. Now let me just create a diagram for that as well. And so link clone that you're seeing on your screen as well is that there's a link clone. This is totally connected to the VM template that we created here. So suppose you want to take the machines home now, and you're copying your server 1, server 2, but you forgot to copy the template machine that is on the left side here. So when you go home and you paste all the machines in your laptop and then you start the machines, they will not start. So they are totally linked to that template machine. If that machine is not there, they're not going to work. So link clones are, first of all, they're slower than full clones. Second thing is that they take less space. So less. So it will, suppose you did not copy template machine to the USB stick. You only, yeah, so we have to, so whenever you're copying it and you might want to copy, hey, that's a lot of work in 6 weeks we have done. I will copy these machines at home and I will run them from my home PC now. So whenever you're copying, you have to copy the template machine as well as server 1 and server 2 clones, all three, if you've selected linked clone. But if you have selected full clone does not depend on the template here. It does not depend on the template. It's an independent machine. It is faster. The first thing is it is faster. But the bad thing about that is if you run out of, if you have less space in your hard disk, it's going to really expand so much fast that you might run out of space. And in that case, like, you have to really maintain that machine. Otherwise, you have to get rid of that machine if you have no other way to have space. Otherwise, purchase a bigger disk for that. So link clone are always my favorite because I've seen myself and many students stuck with that situation. Now what do? We have to do some more labs and I ran out of space and I cannot purchase a new disk. So that's why better stick to link clone and just select that. So faster but takes space, right? Yeah, right. So we're gonna select link clone because these are public machines and we don't want them to run out of space, because then students they get desperate because I'm doing a lab and they run out of space and then they delete others' machines. That's the worst thing. So I hope when you're creating the machines, you may copy after today or at 2 o'clock. If you have external drive with you, just copy your machines now. That's better. Or in next week, copy these machines to your cell. Otherwise, all our configurations are same. Suppose your machines are deleted, which is rare, very rare. Extreme circumstances, somebody says, hey, I need to do the lab and I don't know whose machines are these, so bye bye. But the thing is that if that happens, suppose you don't have copy of your machines, another machine, you're also configured similar. We are all configured similarly, all the machines, so you can copy anyone else's machine as well. There's always a backup. If you want to take your own backup, because your name will be there, so that's the only difference. So anyway, we understand that linked clones are linked to the template machine. The full clones are independent machines. Full clone takes a lot of space. Linked clone takes less space. While they are so slower, we don't want slow as well. So what's the resolution for that? We don't want slow machines. we're going to put the link clones on SSD. That's going to balance our performance then. If you put this link clone on HDD, that's a nice disaster recipe. It's like tick, tick, tick. It's not that slow, but it's like slow. And we have seen slow students are, sir, I'm not there yet. And we're like, okay, can we go to Tim Hortons? So it's really slow then. So make sure we select link clone, which is already selected, but we're going to put it on SSD. So now this is the end of our all the machines that we have created there, and Cheryl has missed all that. Just kidding. Okay, so oh yeah, it's recording. No, we're just not that far. I'm just kidding. So okay, here now you can see that it is link clone. Let's keep it like that, and let's click next again. Right. So once we click next again, now you see this. Now do not click browse. Do not click browse here. Stay on the first line here and click on that. Stay on the first line and click on that. We need to just find revisit that name. First of all, I'm at the last. So this is no longer a template. This is actual machine name, right? It's not a template anymore. So the last word here you can see is a template. Remove that. So I'm just going to select that at the end, and I'm going to remove that template word. Then if we go with the left arrow, we keep going to the left side. So excuse me, we can simply get rid of that very long name, Windows Server 2016. So it is saying actually clone of Windows Server 2016. We don't need that long name. So clone of Windows Server 2016. So just put Server 01. But we do have your name, first name. We do have your course name. We do have the course start date. That's what we need, right? So simplify the name but meaningful, so other students will know that right away. That so see this, now it's Server 01, right? So that's how it should look like now. Template at the end should be gone, and the long name at the start should be gone, and it should be now Server 1, but your first name is showing, course name is showing, and the course start date is showing. If that is all showing, if you've done that, better select all and simply Control C or right click and copy that. Why? Because the second clone will be given the same naming, just we're going to change the server 1 to 2. Which one? Here? No, that's because C drive, we're just going to change it to SSD now. C drive there.
No, what I'm saying, you couldn't go to the original file and make a copy and then put up the virtual machine.
So that is done in Hyper-V.
How did you say
In VMware Workstation, we just created a clone by right clicking on template, go to manage, then clone, and then we're making a clone out of that.
Okay.
In Hyper-V, we have to actually copy.
Did you say how to save it? This name?
No, yeah, so did we change the name here?
Yeah, I changed the name.
That's it. So then we're going to change the drive to SSD. In your case, it is E, and mine is D,
Preset C drive,
which is slow, HDD, magnetic disk. So if we put that on that, then we will all be 1 kilometer ahead. So D, we're putting D here. See this? We're putting D.
Mine is E, right? Yesterday we did E.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yours is E as well, right?
Here. Oh. And then we're doing this. Next. And there. Oh no, link clone is okay. And next. Now this is what we're doing. Yeah.
I forgot to put template on mine.
Oh, okay. So exactly if it is like that, you're good.
Mine is E.
Yes. And we're gonna remember that. Yeah. And now let's just stay there. Let me just make sure that everyone's there. Sir. So your SFD is E, which is broken. Why is that? And yeah, instead of C, just only remove the C to E. Yeah, way to go, man. Perfect. The rest is okay. You're good, right?
I accidentally
Uh-huh.
pressed finish, so I created the
It's on C or D? It's on D.
You're
good. Yeah. The next thing is, let's click finish. There's only one button there.
What was that? You don't click.
Yeah. You know click. I know click. Oh, I know click. You know click. It's not the other way. I just said it the other way now. That's it. Click finish, guys. That's how we're gonna create clone 2 and in future clone 3 and clone 4 as well. Future, not now, right? So it is created right away because it's a link clone, and now the clone is showing. Now, guys, there's a template machine. I'm gonna select the template machine again. But the question to you is, if I select that server 01 here, because it's an empty machine. I mean, it's not empty machine, but it's just an exact copy of that. Why can't I? Oh, I just answered. Oh, half of the answer is there. Why cannot I right click this one, the newly created server, and make a clone out of that? Or is there a difference if I make a clone out of server 1 or if I make a clone out of server template machine? Is there a difference between the two? Yes, the template is configured with sysprep. The clone is not shut down with sysprep. So although it's a brand new, we could have created a clone of clone, but then the clone of clone will have the same SID as the clone. So template machine will give the unique SID for the second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, 1000th clone.
That is why you say link clone.
Yeah.
And not fully clone.
So full clone also need to be having a template that is shut down with sysprep. But full clone is not linked to template machine, it's an independent clone. But it takes a lot of space. And if we run out of space here, whoa, then you have to redo the lab or recreate that machine again. So let's strictly follow the link clone, guys, for our own good and for our own continuation of labs. Some students were stuck. So let's just go right click template again, and now we know the drill. Right click the template again and go to manage and go to clone. Right, we're good, right? Okay. And then welcome to the clone. This is the second clone, obviously. So next, nothing in the current state in the virtual machine is okay. Next, it's a create a link clone, just like before. Next, this is the page. Now you just have to remove the template. Although I've copied that, I understand, but some of us may not have copied, so I'm just removing the template here again. And then I'm going to go to the other side and simply removing clone of Windows 2016 and deleting that as well. So now it comes down to server 02. So it should exactly look like this, guys.
Mine still came as a template and
yeah.
Yours is different.
No, I removed it just now. Mine was also template.
You are that fast?
Oh yeah, I have white hair now. No, I have white hair. I've been doing that and my hair are white now.
So I think on mine, the location
of the clone is on C.
The virtual machine name, right? This changed, but the location on previous one, I think it got stuck on. You see, like when I try to finish it, it says like this already exists. So I'm supposed to change it to that one, right?
Yeah. Suppose you know what happens. If you click anywhere here first, then you come here again, and then you make any changes, so it does not update this line. Suppose you click only here first, whatever you type here, it updates automatically here.
Okay, but I can go and change this, right?
Like you can just change the name here, put a dash here, put -1 here, and it will be then different.
No, what's happening? You see, I removed it from here, the Windows server. Instead of server 2, the file location is still on the clone of Windows Server 2016.
You know why this happened?
No.
But I know. I think we should not chat a lot, right? So if you're not paying attention, this happens. So now we can cancel this because you created the first clone. Now let's go for the path.
No, server 1. This is correct, isn't it? No, that's the VMAX. The location.
You know the best thing? Delete that one as well. Oh yeah, nice. right click, manage. So we have to really follow the rules. Remove, your template is gone already. Okay, so it's not there. How you do the template from the template is gone. And G drive. Here only change we're gonna do is G drive. Yeah, now it's okay. It should be okay. No, here we don't have to do anything because this name has been automatically updated here as well.
So that's what I exactly did.
Yeah, and click finish now. And close. And then go for okay again. And let's create the second row. And that's it. Should not be any problem. Yep. Yeah, so it's good. But yeah, sometimes it's messed up. If you select the second line, it just doesn't let you update anything after that on the second line automatically. So, okay guys, here now D drive, and if it is D drive, if you're there, just go ahead, make sure that we put the 2 here, we're good, click, finish. Now, if both are click finished, should we power on server 1 and server 2? Or should we take care of something else and then power on server 2, server 1, server 2? Memory. Because remember, 4 MB? So we have to change each server's RAM, the clone's RAM, from 4 MB to 8 GB. So see this? Hey, it's break time, break! Okay, so server 1, let's go there. Server 1, let's click that. Server 1. Yeah, and 8 GB. So server 1, when you click that, see this on the left side, edit virtual machine, there is a 4 MB here, right? So we can directly click on the memory or we can click on the edit virtual machine. They both take us to the same window. So if I go directly on the memory and click that like this, so it's going to open and it's showing 4 MB. So if you directly go on the 8 written there, just click on top of that 8 GB, it will just pop up here. You don't have to really drag it if it's the exact one. So just click the 8 directly here and it will simply pop. So everyone was able to do that, right? So when it is 8, just press OK and it will just take, instead of 4, it will make it 8 GB. Make sure it is ending with GB, not 8 MB. There's a 8 MB here as well. But we're going for 8 GB, not MB, right? So, exactly. In fact, that's a very good thing. You have 30 seconds to do it yourself. Oh, you're all done, right? Server 2 as well?
Well, I'm doing the VMNet from that to my VMNet.
Oh, no, not now.
Not now.
So what happened to I no click, you no click?
Oh.
So
I thought I'm following the notes you said, like, you have to
with the, because I'm explaining, this is the first time we're doing that.
Yeah.
So everything has to be done at its own time.
Okay.
And we're building our bases now. If the bases are shaky, we cannot build a full Empire State Building there on top of the shaky bases. Okay, so the second one done?
Yep.
Where to go? Second one done. Done? Second one? I haven't shown it, but I'm going to be doing that now. So change the RAM of the second one. So I'm now changing the RAM for the second one. So I'm just going to click the second one here. And so right now we need NAT. Right? So if you've already changed to VM15, then change back to NAT. Why? Why do we need NAT now, but later we don't? Yeah? Because we need NAT, it's going to give us internet right away as soon as we start. Why? Because we need to activate the machine for 180 days. That's all we need from internet. Once it is configured for 6 months or 180 days, then we don't need NAT. Right? So I'm just going to go for the second machine. I'm clicking the memory here and I'm just clicking directly 8G and B. So 8 GB is there, and then press O and K. So now, once that is done, I understand it's really slow process, and sometimes some students they can do this with eyes closed and hands tied behind the back. Even if you put that like Houdini, they would just done. It's so easy, but there are some steps that has to be done together. These are those steps. Okay, so and we have to be on the same page. That's why I'm just slow. Otherwise, this done in 1 minute. Okay, so here, guys, if the RAM has been changed, what do we do now? Power on server 1 and server 2. So I'm gonna click server 1 here, and there's a power on button here. So select server 1 on the left side and power on, then select server 2 on the left side and power on. Already powered? No, no, we didn't power them on. We just changed the RAM. So then we power on. We're not supposed to power them on. So now can you show me the RAM you can, because on power on you can only go for MBs. Anyway, so this one's over. Right click settings. Yeah, settings is this. So that's good. So yeah, they were off actually. Now they're on. So yeah, cancel or okay. So guys, if you're on 8 GB RAM and it's starting, these are the tasks that need to be performed, and they have to be exactly, even one step is gone, that's it. I mean, we have to just go back there and trace back what happened wrong, because this is our bases have to be very strong, right? We're going to be installing so many roles here on top of that, so we cannot afford to have anything not done in these steps. So once we log in from both clones, which we are about to do, but first of all, it is asking what? It's going to ask for this. What is this? Hi there, what's your home country and what's your preferred app, and that's it. So no change here, guys. If you see that, just go ahead and click next. No change here, just go ahead and click next. If it comes, and the second one is accept license, obviously you just have to accept it. No problem, man. Today is the snowy day, so it's natural. And accept the agreement, right? Now we remember the password. Yes. Okay, thank you for the reply. And small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123, and then small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123, and that's it. We change and we log in. We do the same thing for the second machine as well. We change the password and log in. So I just put this password here, small, which is the class password, and so once it is done, I'll click finito, and then we go ahead. Well, if you've given the password, let me know if you haven't, or if there's an issue or you're struggling with something, so let me know. But otherwise, if it is changed, oh, in fact, I changed the password of server 2 first, which is right now no problem. So I'm just going to send Control Alt Delete to login. And these are three buttons: send, Control Alt Delete. Once you send Control Alt Delete, there is small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123, right? And I'm going to do the same thing for server 1. It is asking for hi there, blah 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 blah. So next, and accept license terms, accept, and small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123, small ABC, capital ABC, shift 123. So you put those passwords here as well. Click finish. Then have you all logged in? Yes. Okay, thank you for the reply.
I just go power on the second one, right?
Oh, yeah, we have to power on both. And you've changed the RAM for both, right?
I did check.
Okay, good. So we need to reach the stage where we are logged in successfully from both clones, which will be now named server 1 and server 2. Yay! Well, only with my machine it happens that the first time when it logs in, it blacks out. So now it's not going to show me anything until I restart. So I think it's not coming to you. So it's just going to stay like that until I restart. So this is just a problem with my machine. Don't know why. After that first login, I have to restart, and when it restarts, then we're good. So now, if you're logged in, give it 10 seconds or 15 seconds, and then I'm going to show you how to activate. Yes, sir.
There's something here related to the tools. Other tools that modify the user interface size. You must log off that.
Oh yes, if you see that, press OK. So there will be a VMware tools related message logging in. There's a OK and cancel. Yeah, press yes here. Blue and then OK here. It's going to log out and then it's going to log you in again. If a VMware tools related message comes, then press OK. It will log you out because that message, if it comes here, when it comes here, I'm just going to show you now. So it logs in first of all, and I'll just try to show that message if it pops up now. Well, if. So if you're logged in here and you've given enough time, so well, okay, it didn't pop up because the first time it was not showing me a display, but it must have popped up at that time. So guys, if you're logged in here now, Server Manager is our best friend. It is loaded right now because it has all the links to manage local server as well as remote servers and the whole network environment, and we're going to be discovering throughout the course all those features here. But right now, do you see this minimize sign? So minimize this. Once you minimize the server, yes, so blue bar, it is yes. If it is no as well, this is also okay.
So one I put as no and so
and both do not matter. Huh? Both do not matter. Well, yes is the machine is discoverable in our network. No is don't make it discoverable. But we're going to connect to our machine with our static IP, so both don't matter.
So, and I give this.
Yeah, press OK. Yes, it's gonna sign us out, but it's going to make our screen user friendly now. And login, yeah, there as well. Adnan, you're also. So once we, now I'm just gonna wait for. So if you see the desktop here, it's the whole thing is right above the right bottom clock here. Right above the clock, do you see 180 days written here? Right above the clock. Oh, you see that? Okay. So if you don't see that right above the clock inside the machine, inside the virtual machine, so I'm gonna see this. I'm gonna right click and refresh. There's a refresh button here. So I'm right above the clock. I'm gonna right click here and refresh. There's a refresh button here. As soon as I refresh, you can see this written here now. 180 days. Windows license server valid for 180 days. How does it happen? You don't see that? Okay. Oh yeah, minimize that. On the top, if you go.
Oh, just to minimize?
Yeah, minimize this.
If you close, you can't open it again?
Well, we can.
It says, evaluation license.
Oh, you got it. Okay. Let's see who didn't get it. And that's a nice smiley face. Oh, okay.
Mine only one it has.
The one doesn't there, man.
On this doesn't have, right?
So right click anywhere here. Yeah, anywhere. And refresh. Okay, sometimes it takes time. So refresh after 10 seconds.
How did you connect to the internet?
NAT. We were always on NAT. So we were connected, but I think this machine has, you're lucky, this machine has a problem with internet. We have to put machines on bridge, then we connect to NAT. So I'm just gonna be coming there. Oh, you got it. Very good. And we go to server 2. Minimize that. And just refresh anywhere here. I click and refresh. Okay, let's see that. Yeah, for this PC, I'm not sure why it happens, but I have to go to machine settings and I go to that and I bridge it. But we don't keep it bridged. We just want internet connection and then we're out. Then we're gonna change it to Windows 15 anyway. This means no internet anymore. If we're good now. Yes. If the yellow triangle is gone, we're good. And give it a 10 seconds. So next machine also same, right? And bridge is just temporary, just like NAT is temporary right now.
So this mine did come here.
Let me check that. Yeah. Oh, there you go.
So this is the template, and these two are one of these ones, right?
And this template, we don't know. don't need now. So there's a cross button here for the template only. You can just close the template now. So now you can see only two. So we could configure only two.
So what point exactly do I put it back on? Or put it in custom?
Oh yeah, I'm going to tell you. And here, so here, template machine, just click close it because we don't need to see that is on the top machine. Yeah, that's it. Okay. So yeah, you got already good, and that's there should be a router here. So guys, here what we're trying to do is okay, once it is done, what is done? That two machines have internet connection there. So that is very good. Then we will go. I'm just logging into the second machine as well, and oh, there it's already there, right? It's already there. So 180 days. Now that's the first thing. So I'm just going to go down to the notes here and say that activate machines for internet 180 days is done. But the second thing is now we no longer need internet connection. So we're going to change the VM's VMnet from NAT to VMnet 15. Now we're going to do that. Why? Because we need the local network of the machines now. We do not need any machine to stay connected to internet anymore, right? So how do we change that? If and I'm sure everyone is already done with 180 days. If not, let me know. So I'm just going to go back to excuse me. So one here, and let's go to the top here and right click here and go to settings, right? Server 1, right click and settings. Right? Yeah, on server 1. Right click on the top and settings. Then we simply change the NAT to VMnet 15. How do we do that? Do you know where's VMnet 15? Yes, custom, and then we drop down to why VMnet 15, why not 14, why not 16? It doesn't really matter. You can just select any one of those, but my suggestion, you know, stay with these configurations, right? So we could troubleshoot easily as well. So,
Go to VMnet 15.
yes. Select that. So every machine must be on VMnet 15 from now on. If they want to communicate with each other, they must be on VMnet 15 from now on. So if you've all done that, press O and K, right? VMnet 15, done? Okay. So press OK here, and that's done for server 1. Let's do it for server 2 as well. So right click here, go to settings on server 2 as well, to the same area, and NAT, network adapter, and then custom, and VMnet 15. Everyone was able to do that? Yes. Okay. So everyone done, right? Everyone, okay. And so the next point is done. I understand it is slow, but we have to just make sure that exactly this is done, and then we go ahead and we rock the joint, whatever that means. Okay, in our context. So let's give static IP to our server 1. Server 1's static IP is this. Server 2's static IP would be obviously 200.2. So let's concentrate on server 1 and give it static IP first, right? And then we're going to go to server 2 and give the static IP as well. So let's do it you know, the way we, so I'm on server 1 now. Make sure you're on server 1 now. Once you're on server 1, server manager is open for everyone. If not, so you can go down here to this and click the server manager. That button is there, but it is already there open at the bottom for me. So server manager is already there, the suitcase and the server. So if you click that suitcase icon there, then the server manager is there. So how do we change the IP? We can go to local server because it's a local configuration. So let's go to local server on server 1. Make sure you're doing that server 1 because we're about to give 200.1 IP, which should not be given to server 2. It should be given to server 1.
So how do I know that I'm on server 1?
See this? If yeah. Do you see that label there?
Okay. Yeah, I'm on server 1. Yeah.
That's very good. And local server. And then, all right. So there. And once you're on local server, then you see this Ethernet 0 here. Let's click Ethernet 0, this one. And once you click Ethernet 0 within the local server, inside server 1 here, then we click that, and you will see Ethernet 0 here, right? Again, and so double click that Ethernet 0. That's the first network card, or Ethernet 0, first network card, or NIC. So then we go to properties. So double click Ethernet 0, and then we go to properties. Yeah. Asif there?
Yeah.
Oh, Adnan there? Okay. And then we go double click v4. Although if you uncheck, see this? There's a Internet Protocol version 6. So if we uncheck that, that is okay for our environment for now. Why? Because when we troubleshoot, hey, is that second machine even pinging us? So instead of getting IPv4 address, we get IPv6 address. So sometimes we are confused. Okay, what is that anyway? So, so uncheck that IPv6. Suppose you keep it checked, it's okay as well. It doesn't really make any difference. But I'm just gonna uncheck that and double click v4. Double click this one, Internet Protocol version. So click it and click properties, or just double click it. So once you double click, you should be on this screen. And in this screen, it says, hey, do you want to obtain an IP address automatically, or do you want to give your own IP? Use the following IP address. So we're going to go for use the following IP address. And 192.168.200.1 tab will give you subnet mask automatically. Tab will give you default gateway 192.168.200.1 again. We don't need a gateway. So we don't need a gateway. We're just giving a fake gateway here just to have some IP in the gateway. Otherwise, we don't need it. And then the preferred DNS is 192.168.200.1 again, because we plan to install the DNS server role on this particular machine. So one. So that's why preferred DNS is 1. And that's the IP of this machine, because on this machine we will plan to install DNS as well. Gateway is fake. Either you don't put a gateway, or you can put some gateway. So we just pointed it to itself. And when it discovers, oh, this server 1 discovers, oh, I'm the gateway, it will actually remove this. It's okay. But server 2, we should just keep it like that. 201. There it will not remove it. Yeah, we're in the LAN. So make sure that exactly. And make sure also one more important thing, 0 is lowercase, right? It's always lowercase. Why? Just kidding.
Amazing advice.
Yeah, it's just joking. 0 is always lowercase. Don't put it capital letters.
I did.
Okay.
Don't put O. I did.
Oh, okay. Then I should go for 1 then. There was actually something about it. So 1 is lowercase. It's not uppercase. So okay. So guys, all done exactly like that. It's not 193. It's not 169, right? So if you're exactly like that, let's go ahead. So let's go press OK here. Yes, exactly. So server 1, press OK. That's it. OK, 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 close, right? So OK again, close again, and go to server 2. Do the same thing. Hey, if I don't show you, will you be able to do that? Oh yeah, 202. So I'll just put that here. There's information. See this? There's the information for server 2 now. I'm going to show you anyway. But if I give you a kind of a challenge here, that this is the IP now. So you got 1 minute. Dude. You have to, some of the guys have to do it with eyes closed. You cannot see, and you have to feel it. Feel the keyboard and give the IP. You got 40 seconds. Dude.
I forgot how to go to that.
Yeah. It's okay. I'll be showing that. Yeah. Or yeah. Well, thank you, sir. That's very kind of you. it would always be .1, even if there are 10,000 machines or 30,000 machines. Yeah, unless you have two DNS servers, then there's an alternate DNS server below the preferred DNS server. Suppose you have two DNS servers, then two IPs, one.
No, on IPv6, and then just go up, double click on IPv4. That would be the alternate.
That would be the alternate. Second.
Just first manual.
Oh.
Manual.
Well, we ran out of time. So now I'm gonna. Oh, we're already done. Okay, I was gonna show now. Thank you, sir. Okay, and are you guys here? So I'm just gonna show that now, and but you'll be challenged in pretty much whatever step we did together, and then try to really remember, or you don't have to really remember as well, because there are some of the tasks are with 20-30 steps. Nobody can possibly remember that unless you're doing that pretty much every week or every second week. So the thing is that just challenge yourself and try to figure out, because in IT you will get so many types of tasks that you may not have ever seen before, that you did not sign up for, but the boss says and you have to do that. In that case, try to make the habit of figuring out with Mr. Google. Be a very best friend of Google, and your search should be so refined. Many 3 or 4 times I had to my job was online actually, if I didn't resolve that ticket, and I had to, yeah, sure, why not, I had no idea how to do that, and yeah, sure, not to boss, and then I went to Google, looking everywhere, okay, Google, then that's it, resolve your issue, and that's it. So you should be a good searcher, you should be a good troubleshooter, you should be a team player, right? You need to make that happen here, so in job environment you're like, no problem, and you're a yes man pretty much. Unless you're a senior administrator, then you can, no, not this. Okay. Anyway, now we're just gonna go for server 2, and since you've done that already, I'm just gonna go to server 2 now, and you can just double check what you did. Local server here in server 2. I'm just gonna go to Ethernet here, Ethernet 0, and Ethernet 0 double click, and then properties, and then I uncheck v6. If you didn't do that, it's okay. If you did that, it's okay. Double click v4 and use the IP following IP address 192.168.200.2, tap 192.168.200.1, tap 192.168.200.1. Should there be one or should there be two here? Two. Why one? Why?
Your default gateway is wrong as well.
Default gateway should be 2 as well, right?
No, the default should be 1.
So how about this? If I do this, now it's 222, because in first machine we did 111. So shouldn't it be 222 here?
No.
It makes a perfect. There's a pattern here.
This is a separate machine, right?
Yes.
No.
What server going to be? The gateway.
So there will be only one gateway here in the environment, and that, suppose you have 10,000 machines there, their gateway will be only one, not two. Suppose we gave one as a gateway. Gateway is only one in the network. It's never two gateways. It can be two, but at any one time you can use one gateway, right? So I'm gonna remove it. First of all, it is one here. Why? Because only one gateway is there for the devices. So if it's a second machine, that doesn't mean that you need a second gateway for that. Suppose there are thousands of machines, they all have their own gateway? No. Gateway is just one main gate from which you leave and you come inside. There's only one gate outside, right? So gateway is that one device, one router through which the traffic is going. So it will always be one IP in thousands and thousands of machines.
I thought we're treating each as
separate independent network?
Separate, separate servers.
They are separate servers, but their network services will be same. Whatever gate is the gateway IP for the first server will be the same gateway IP for the second server. And for, suppose in Scotiabank we had 2,200 servers, 2,200 servers there. They're all,
but you had
gateway was just one. Yeah.
Only one?
Yeah. We can have, at one time we can send the traffic to any one gateway, one router, right? So, but DNS, why did we call it 2? We plan to install DNS only on the server 1. There can be 2 DNS servers as well. Yes, in a very large environment, you can have 3, 4, 5 DNS servers as well, right? But we plan to install only DNS on server 1, whose IP is 200.1. So this server needs name resolution services. Server 2 needs name resolution services. it will go to server 1. Why? Server 1 has the DNS server. DNS server will be receiving requests from, maybe you have 10,000 machines there. All 10,000 machines preferred DNS will be always 1. Why? You have just one DNS server in the, and that is providing name resolution to all the machines. Yeah. Yes, sir. You were saying? Question?
We have like 50 gateways.
50?
For segmentation. Like,
oh yeah, you want to go that segmentation? That is.
Have like 10 cards and
no, that is a specific scenario. Very
like
specific scenario.
Coming to a bottleneck, right? Versus you have different gateways to get out and get in.
No, there is no bottleneck. I mean, like, bottleneck can happen if you have huge traffic and your equipment, network equipment, your switch, your router, your cables are not supporting that kind of bandwidth. If you have enough bandwidth, you can have 85,000 machines in one building, and they all are perfectly using one gateway. So normally that is, your equipment should be good. So, but if you have multiple gateways, there must be a very specific reason that the traffic has to go. Suppose there's a gateway that is connecting your local traffic to Toronto branch. Then there's a New York branch. Then there's a London branch, and you decided to put different gateways. That is also rare, but you can put just one gateway that connects to every other branch. So guys, normally in companies you can put 1 or 2 DNS servers. If you have one DNS server, that server's IP will be here in the preferred DNS, and if you have 2 DNS servers, the other server's IP can be in the alternate DNS server, right? Just 2 DNS servers are okay as well. In fact, 2 DNS servers should be as a best practice there instead of 1 DNS server. That 1 DNS server goes down, that's it, no name resolution. So you cannot access any resource by name. You cannot access any resource by name. Then good luck remembering the IP address of those resources. So having 2 DNS servers is the best practice, right? So we understand that why all thousands of machines will have only the same IP, because the DNS server is on the server whose IP is this. We understand that, right? Okay, so gateway is same, DNS is same, but the only thing is the machine's IP is different. Okay, let's press O and K. So it's always good to discuss that, and any question is always welcome. So let's press OK here, and once you put that IP there as well, now it's oh, you're discoverable on 192.168.200 network. Okay, that's good. So I say press yes.
So since I pressed no to the other ones, so can I press yes here?
Yeah. Even if we have pressed no to everything, that is also okay. It's just that discoverable or not. Yeah, close this. So guys, if we are done with that, and we close this as well, now what are our steps here? So we go ahead and select that we have changed IPs. So first of all, we change the VMnet, then we change the IP addresses of both servers as well. We've done that too, so that is all green. And now we're in the final stage where for this main task, that rename both servers and restart them. But after they are restarted, you have to don't log in, wait there for me, and I'm going to show you how to take a snapshot. This is really going to save us a huge amount of time throughout the course. Oh yeah, it is revolution.
I pinged for one, I pinged server 2.
Right away.
Have a whole elaborate.
Exactly. Yeah. VirtualBox, you have to go to the network card. You have to refresh it, generate a new IP.
I use it. Like, I'm pretty good at it, but I
okay. Yes, it is. You know, it's free, but it is good that those who cannot afford $300, actually pretty much nobody can afford $300 for a VMware workstation, or you can make it work. But anyway, let's not go that way. So here guys, let's rename the server 1 and restart, then rename server 2 and restart. How do we do that? Let's go ahead and do that. So this is, are we all on server 1?
Why are we renaming?
Yes. So renaming is to put it proper name. It is, so see this right now, you can see it's a weird name here, Win FB3 something random. So we're giving proper names. Yes, see this? Are we seeing in server 1? Are we all on server 1? because that's the name we're giving to the OS as well. This is the machine label name, but we're gonna give the OS also the same name. What is the name of the label? Which is server 01. That's it. Let's just keep it to server 01. So local server, if you're there in server 1, and then you click this computer name. Go ahead and click this computer name now. Once you click that, this screen opens, right? And then click the change button here. And once you click the change button, the computer name here, done? Already done? Okay. So server 01, that's it, right? Once you put server 01, press OK, OK, restart. It will ask for restart, go ahead and restart. And then wait for me once it is restarted. So server 01 is written there. If it is written there, then you have to press O and K, right? So once you press OK, yeah,
server 01, I put server 1, is that okay?
which is okay. Yeah. Doesn't matter.
Since I did on the first one, I'm going to use here 1, but the second one I put 02, so I will just do that. Is that okay?
Yeah, if that is 02 and this is just 1, yeah, that's also okay. But since you put it 1 here, it's better just to see, just put 2 there then. Okay, press OK. If you put 01 here, and then it says you must restart your computer to apply these changes, so press OK here as well, because you need to restart if you want this name change to be permanent. So, and then click close. Once you click close, it's asked this, so go ahead and restart. So go ahead and restart. So I'm just going to click restart now for server 1, and I hope now you're going to server 2. Sometimes it happens, students mistakenly put the name of server 1 as server 2 and server 2's as server 1. So we just have to change it at that time. But if you're following now and really paying attention, then you will just do the right thing, which is being done on the board. So server 2 here, local server, go to the computer name here. That's also a weird name. And then go to the change button here, and then server 02. That's it. And press O and K. And press O and K again. And close and restart. Yay. So when it is restarted, just stay there. Do not log in. Or if you've logged in, that also doesn't matter, because we're just taking a snapshot.
So you can still take a snapshot while logged in?
Yeah, even if it is shut down, we can take a snapshot. So when we come back, it will be shut down. But it will have that kind of configuration, whatever we configured at that time. It's a separate, very small file actually. And it just freezes all the configuration.
So the file location,
oh, it's the same folder.
Oh, same folder. You just go and copy it as a backup.
You saw the path there, same folder. Alright guys, is it restarted exactly like that, server 1 and server 2? So in server 1, we're going to just take a snapshot now, right? So in server 1, if it is restarted at this state, it doesn't really, it's not compulsory that it should be in this. Suppose you logged in, it's also okay. Suppose you're there, it's also okay, doesn't matter. We're taking a snapshot of the current configuration where we have activated the machine, we have given a static IP, we have renamed it. That's 3 things we have done only. But this is a perfect state to take a snapshot. If we mess up our machines, then we come back to this where at least we have to don't do these 3 tasks. So server 1, let's right click on server 1 first of all, and do you see this snapshot? And then you must see this take snapshot, right? So right click on server 1, snapshot, and take snapshot. If you're there, go ahead and click take snapshot. Now once you click that, so this is the snapshot number 1 of server 1, and the more information you put, the better here. So because when you come back to the snapshot, you're choosing snapshot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, snapshot 1 has activated static IP, rename. Okay, these many tasks. So at least I know now when I come back to this snapshot, I would not be doing this, what I've written here. Activated static IP given renamed. Once you've written these 3 things, it is a snapshot number 1 of this server. Then snapshot number 1 of server 2 we are gonna take as well. This is the snapshot number 1 of server 1. Cool. And then snapshot number 1 of server 2, we're gonna do the same way. So yeah. and then just type here now what is there, activated, static IP given, rename. If you've written that, go ahead and click the take snapshot button. We're gonna do exactly the same thing on server 2.
Can we just change the name for the snapshot? It's like server 1 now, or like?
This is snapshot number 1 for server 1. Then suppose you want to take at some other point, snapshot 2.
So I don't change that.
It's counting the snapshots for this server. So it is okay to keep that name. Otherwise, technically we can change it if you want. So, done? Yeah, good. So I'm gonna click the take snapshot now. You know what? I forgot to tell you. I'm just gonna copy that if you want. If you feel like me and I'm feeling very lazy, so I'll be typing there, or I'll just copy this here, all three, because I'm gonna type in the same thing there for the snapshot 1 of server 2 as well. So I'm gonna click the take snapshot here now, which is very good. So at least to this point, I won't be able to do these three things if I had to come back in future to this point. Suppose the machines are that messed up. So server 2, when I go, I'm going to do the same thing now. Right click, take snapshot, and it's the snapshot number 1 of server 2, right? Snapshot number 1 of server 2. So I'm just going to control V because that's exactly what I did. And that's so the next snapshot is coming for server 1, where we're going to install Active Directory, DNS, DHCP, 390 users. We're going to configure a lot of things. Then we're going to take a snapshot of that as well. Because if we had to come back to that, it's a lot of work that we would have done already. So it really saves our time, and this is really crucial that you take a snapshot, this one especially. So activated, static IP given, renamed. If you've all done that, let's click the take snapshot now. Right? Done? You're good. Okay, cool. Okay, guys. So here, once we're done with that, now the next phase starts. Da, da, da. Huh? Break?
So how do I go and see?
Okay.
How do I go and see where the snapshot is?
That's a good question. And hey, only those who are in this line, only those guys asked. This question came to this line. I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, he also has the same question.
Oh.
So I was thinking, what's the comparison? Maybe it's this line here. It's not line 2, line 3. It's line 1.
I wasn't paying attention for what he's asking.
No, but that's a question, guys. Where is the snapshot right now? Suppose the boss says, where's that snapshot? So that is something that we should know. And see this. Oh, now you're good? You need help? Yeah. You're good, right? Okay, so here, guys, the question is that where is the snapshot living right now, where we saved it? So see this. Let's go to right click here on server 1. We need to go to the exact folder of this server where all the files of the server 1 are living right now. So if you right click here, you see settings. Let's go to settings right now. Once we right click the server 1 and click the settings here, then you can go for options. That's another tab showing here. I hope everyone's seeing that. So once you click the options, keep it on general. And once you keep it in general, you can see slowly down here the working directory. This one. So above is options, then general is already okay. Then I go down to working directory. Now I need to click here and control A, select all. Oh, control A doesn't work, right? Oh, it doesn't work. So select all. See this? Yes, Cheryl, you were saying? Okay, you're good, right? So there are other ways to go there as well manually, but this is a bit faster way. So copy the whole path here, select everything and copy it. Now simply open it in run. Do you see the machines run here? So you go down outside to the run here.
You can just paste it on the search.
On that search as well. You can paste it on search, or you can just go the old way, old school like me, and in the run you paste, or in the search you can paste as well, and just press enter. As soon as you press enter, you should be.
This is inside the virtual.
This is outside the virtual machine. This is outside run. Okay, I'll just show you now. So I'm inside this mess. Oh, I'm just inside this folder now. You can see this is the path written here, and these are the files, and one of them is snapshot. I'm coming to you now.
What is this one?
This is a snapshot file.
When I went here.
Options, and then did you copy this?
Yeah, I did copy it.
So right click here on the Windows icon, right click.
Yeah.
Right click.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Run. Now paste, right click and paste, and that's okay. It will open a folder of that machine. This is where server one's every file is living right now.
Oh, okay.
And one of them is called actually Snapshot. So where you can go inside the folder and check that, but see the size. What is the size? It's a huge file or it's a very 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 small file? Actually, snapshot file is this, guys. See this?
Megabyte.
Yeah, it's just 1 megabyte.
Actually, no, sorry.
VMSN.
There are two files actually. VMem file.
That is memory, and that is MSN.
VMware virtual machine snapshot, which is 0 bytes.
Exactly. This is VMSN. That is the one.
So we need both of those files
So-
to revive, let's say, the machine.
No. So first thing is, you have to shut down. If you shut down the machine, then you will see that it is just one file. Right now it is powered on, so the snapshot file is actually attached to all other files as well. And there's a LCK file here that will play a very important role in future. Why? Because sometimes when you start the machine, you will see that it says, oh, it's already busy, so you cannot start it. So LCK files are lock files, and these files mean that your machine is already connected to the VMware workstation. It is kind of, workstation thinks it is powered on right now. Actually, it is powered on. That's why you will see LCK files here. This means this virtual machine is powered on right now. It's just working right now. If it is shut down, then those files normally go away. If they're not, so then I will show you that how to resolve that issue. But anyway, all the files are here for this virtual machine, and one of them is snapshot. If you shut down, it will be just one file. If it is powered on, it is connected to actually other files as well right now.
So which one you click on that? Like the one on.
It's just there, but we don't have to click, double click. Do not open any of those files because machine is actually on now. So do not click. Even if when it is off, we don't have to see inside content. It's not gonna show that. So these files are not supposed to be opened. Okay, guys. So we see that there's a path here, and let's minimize that, right? And okay, let me check that. And just let's go back to our server one. So let's log into server one now, because now we're working a lot only on server one. We need to install Active Directory, DNS, DHCP, 390 users with PowerShell. I'm gonna write all that. Let's take a break and come back. Woohoo! After these messages. Yeah. Yes, sir. Oh, not there. So close this. You need to go outside of the. Oh, right here. Oh, good. Oh yeah. Okay. Good. Very good. Oh, you brought a gift for me. Thank you very much. No, what do you call it?
That
ISO, right?
yeah, the one here, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You need the latest VMware session, which is 15.5. Sure. Yeah, this is the folder that we were talking about, and snapshot is where. Yeah, this we just wanted to know where it is and how does it look like, and where is the snapshot file. So there's a snapshot file. That's what we want. Otherwise, so guys, let's take a break. 12 sharp we start, right? And in case you're wondering, Tim Horton is that way. So, just kidding. Yep. Okay.
So what about one now?
Oh yeah, let's do that. In the break or in the class?
Well, after the break.
Oh yeah, thank you, because I need to grab coffee. So, and yeah, okay, I'll just, that's for the teacher. There is no break. It's never a break. So I'm gonna.
I'm feeling like a coffee. Would you like a coffee?
Well, I'll just make it from
No,
the
please,
kitchen. So the
Please.
okay, so it's a small coffee,
Small with
one milk, one sugar.
one milk. Anyone else, guys? Come on, for sure. You already have?
Thank you,
Cheryl,
sir.
how about you, my friend?
Oh
Tea,
yes.
like a hot tea, boiled tea. You good? For sure.
Thank you, sir. Very kind of you. So you're logged into the Office 365 already, and Adan, if you're able to, I hope you. Yep. And hey, I've started saying yup in other classes now. Thanks for making me. No, have a habit as well. So, and I was thinking, where did I hear that? I am saying that involuntarily now. So everyone's saying, "Sir, did you do that?" Yep. So I was like, "Whoa, I never used to say that. What happened?" Yeah. You're the source. Okay. And I'll just start copying that, and I'm coming to you. Okay. So if you're logged in, oh, you're logged in, man. So go there to the dots, one note. I only shared with you earlier. Shared with you. Otherwise, go to the email and then come to your now. You also want to see the 740. Okay. Okay. So, guys, then the other way is there's an invite sent to your email. So again, click the dots. Do you see the Outlook written on the top? On the top dots. Now, when you go to Outlook, yeah, there's an invitation for 740. Now click that invitation. Okay, now it's open. This is it. Yeah. So yeah, these are just download links. And day 2, day 3. Oh, thank you. Okay, sir. Yeah. And I want to have this oh yeah. So see this? There's a very manual way. Manual way is I select that control E. Everything selected. Control E. Yep. And then control C. Control A. All selected. Then right click, copy, open an MS Word, make the name of this Day02 with this date and paste it there. Yeah, open MS Word. So every day at 2 o'clock, if you're doing that, you have your notes ready. When we save change, yes. Okay, and close. Yeah. Okay. And but when you're saving it, just give it a name of today, day 2, 6 number, sir. So if you have the what? Oh yeah, OneNote, I can help you. Oh, sure. So you remember the password of Office 365? Yeah. So when you're logging, let me know. Alright guys, we're back from the break, and now we will be going for our configuration, main configuration there. So I'm just gonna go ahead and open the paintbrush here and just create the environment that we are in. So we have two machines here. Both machines have been renamed. Both machines have been given the IP address here. So server 1 and the IP address is 192.168.200.1, 255.0 and 192.168.200.1 for the fake gateway. 192.168.200.1 is the preferred DNS. And this is the same thing for server 2 as well. It is there. Oh yeah. Abbreviations like IP, SM. Okay, I forgot to put that. So, IP, and this is SM, subnet mask, this is GW, gateway, and GW, gateway, and PD for preferred DNS. PD. Now, okay guys, so these are the ones there as well, but this is just the start, and we have the two machines here. Now we need to have the first machine actually is going to introduce the Microsoft network called domain. We call it domain there, and it is going to be a domain controller. So first of all, we're just going to have, I'm just going to line up the roles that are going to be installed here, and what are those roles, what do they do, why was such a big deal there for these roles. Then DNS we're going to install, which will install with the Active Directory, and then we're going to go for DHCP there. Then we're going to go for you know, we're going to copy the domain admin account to create another account, because we're going to use that one for to do everything and not the actual domain administrator account. So copy domain account in and the new account name will be net admin. And then we're gonna create 390 users with PowerShell script, users with PowerShell, and those we need to have some kind of number of users there, right? So just to pretend that this is a big environment there. So and excuse me, after that, once we are done with that, so DNS DHCP 300 users, copy domain account there. Now on the second server, that is going to be just having one role for now, and it's not a role actually like a role, it's just playing a role, which is member server. Now before we go ahead, there are some terminologies that need to be clarified. What is the difference between these three? Standalone server, member server, domain controller, and okay, let's make a 4-1 client machine.
Standalone server is not on the domain.
It's not on the domain or Microsoft network, exactly as you said.
Remember, sir, but it also provides share or something like that if it's necessary.
Not
But it is not linked to the
joined
Active Directory.
to central authentication
Right.
server called DC or domain controller. It's not linked to a central authentication or authority. So member server is?
Member server is a part of the Active Directory.
Yeah. So that is the opposite of standalone server. Exactly. So member server is actually the member of the domain. Member server, it is the member of Active Directory central authentication system called domain. Authentication system called domain. The above one is not, the below one is. So if you say, oh, server 2 is a member server, oh, this means it's being controlled by, or it is part of a Microsoft network called domain, and it is so all the users created on the domain can be logged into that. So its password, its security password, it is with Active Directory as well, because machines also have passwords that are exchanged with the domain controller. So the thing is that it's part of the central domain. Member server is part of a central domain. Standalone server is not part of a central domain or central network, right? Then domain controller itself, what is that?
That's the boss.
That's the boss, exactly. So a server with Active Directory installed on it, server with Active Directory installed on it, it controls the centrally the whole environment, or whole Microsoft domain. And so then we're going to go inside Active Directory. We're going to talk about Active Directory, what other things it does, but right now we're talking about the machine, which is having what software and what is the designation of that machine if it has. So if any of the servers have Active Directory software installed on it, then it is called a domain. That server, that machine is called a domain controller. So server 1 will be our domain controller. Yeah, the machine that will have Active Directory installed on it, any machine, any server machine that has Active Directory installed on it will be called domain controller. It is controlling the domain. When we say controlling the domain, so analogy would be, so suppose there is a Capitol Hill there, and Justin Trudeau is the Prime Minister there, and Justin Trudeau is, through that the government is being run, the whole Canada is being run there from that, right? So domain controller would be Capitol Hill there, and the domain administrator will be Trudeau. Huh? Oh,
It's like authentication.
okay. Is it Parliament Hill in Ottawa? Oh, yeah. See, too much U.S. news networks I see there, and Capitol Hill isn't there. It's a Parliament Hill here. Yeah, thank you for
I
correcting.
don't watch anything US. That's me.
Yeah, but yeah, other students in other classes, they were just staring at me. I was like, Kevin, I don't know why they're staring at me. So, so it's part of thank you, sir. Now in next classes, at least they will not be laughing inside. He doesn't know that it's Parliament Hill. It's not. Okay, so Parliament Hill. Whoa. Okay, so Parliament Hill, and it's like there, and the Trudeau is there. So it is. He's controlling from there the whole Canada. Whoever is there, the whole committee or the cabinet. So domain controller, that machine from there, all domain or the whole Microsoft network is being controlled. When we say control, so we can mention several words there. First of all, central security. Centrally, the security is provided, and then we're going to talk about that as well. Central inventory. Okay, how many servers you have, how many users you have, how many client machines you have. You can see it on the Active Directory. Central administration. You want to create more users. You want to create organizational units, groups. For suppose there are sales department and there are 2,000 users there, so you create security group there, or you create distribution email group there. You email that one group, the email sends to all the members of that group, just like Google group or Yahoo group if you have there. So central administration is done by that. So and then obviously it offers AAA. What is AAA? It's a smaller size battery, right? There's a bigger AA as well, right? Yes, and it also starts with no, authentication, accounting. You already said. Okay, authorization. Exactly, you're right. So all three. So first is it provides authentication. Second is it provides authorization. Third is it provides, now the people will correct us as well, accounting slash auditing. Pretty much both the same things, right? Slash auditing. So I'll just drag this whole thing here. So Active Directory, it's about Active Directory we're talking about, and getting some general view that it has to do with central security, central inventory, central administration. Then it is pretty much responsible for authentication, authorization, and accounting. If I ask you quickly, what is the difference between authentication and authorization?
Authorization is giving permission.
Uh-huh.
Authentication is checking if that one is right.
Exactly. So authentication is that our guy or not? Second, authorization is okay, this is our employee, but he or she cannot access floor number 1, floor number 2. Suppose there are 10 floors there, so floor 1, 2, 3 are okay, but floor 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, or 4, 5, 6, 7 are not, he or she is not authorized to go there. In IT, it would be that you cannot use that color printer on the third floor, but you can use that black and white printer on first floor. Suppose authorization you want to give, and that file server you cannot access, but those file servers you can access. So all the network resources you want to, so first you authenticate by putting username password. That confirms, okay, you're the user of Active Directory. Authentication. Authorization is, okay, you logged in, but you cannot connect to that network there, you cannot connect to that printer there, you cannot print on that printer, and you cannot connect to that server and resources. That is authorization. Then what is accounting and auditing? So yes, how long did you use what resource? So especially auditing or accounting would be that if you are, suppose logged in from a file server, and that file server has a very sensitive files there. CEO has saved the files, senior managers and directors have saved their files there, and you have put auditing on top of that folder. So it will just check that who logged in at what time and for how long. So how long was the activity done, how long did you use the resource, how much of the resource you used. Suppose there's auditing on printer, so normally there is that they count which account actually requested how many paper to be printed. Suppose you just sent a full ebook and that was 1,000 pages, and you just click the print and went. So next day there was a full book printed there, but you were not given. Actually, in colleges and universities, they give you a quota. You cannot print more than certain number of papers per month, right? So if you sent a 1,000 page book, it might even not go ahead because you have restrictions. But it will audit as well. Suppose you did go ahead and print something. So auditing will tell, okay, from this user account over the network, this print job was sent and it had 1,000 papers there. So it will be in the auditing. When we say it will be in the auditing, normally you see it in the log files. Ever heard of log files before? What do they do? Log files. What do they do? What is the purpose of a log file?
It keep a record of everything.
Keep tab of all the errors. Like
yeah. So keep a record. Exactly. Keep a record with timestamp. So exactly as I said, keep a record. So server shut down. So when it restarts again, but there will be a log file created there, which is a text file, very small text file, and it has just one line or three line or few lines there according to the number of errors that came. That server shutdown happened at 11:55 on this date and this year. So we'll timestamp what happened, what event happened. That is saved in the log files, and you can see it with the event viewer application later. That we will be showing you. But whenever say, hey, did you check the log files? What happened last night? All three servers, which were very critical, they shut down for half an hour and then they were started. So let's check the log files. Log file means it will have a timestamp. Okay, at 10:55 there was an error coming. It logged that, oh, free space finishing up, free space finishing up. So it can, and at by 1 a.m. all servers shut down. So free space in all servers, a log file was already creating those errors. That free space is about to be finished at just 2 GB left, 1 GB left, and then that's it. Services are gone. So you would investigate through the help of log files. That will really save your job. Also, if you do keep an eye on the log files, what happened, and sometimes event viewer, they show all the events. So there's a PowerShell script I used to just go with a coffee in the morning, and there's a script there. I was responsible for 50 servers or say 50 or 55 servers. So I would just have a log script there that would touch every server. It would check the log files, and if there's a word called failed, if there's a word called restarted, if there's a word, all those disaster related and dangerous words there, I just put there that if any of the event has that, I'll just catch it first, and maybe I'll be hero in the eyes of my boss. But anyway, that script would just say, oh, there's a failed written there. Okay, which server? Remotely connect RDP and check that. Oh, this is the log file. Failed what? Oh, that service. Okay, let's check. Oh, it's working now. Why did it fail last night? So you investigate the whole thing. You create a report and with screenshots and give it to the boss that, hey, I'm proactive. I'm checking everything. Proactive or reactive, but you're active. So anyway, this is accounting and auditing there. So we understand that Active Directory is that software that's going to create not only your network, which is called domain, it's also going to provide you central security, central inventory, central administration. It's going to provide you authentication. It's going to provide you authorization and accounting or auditing as well. So you install Active Directory. That's the central software that will let you create users, that will let you join the computers, that will let you then remotely connect to any servers securely, right? So the main thing is that this is the central. So just like I was about to say Capitol Hill again, it's so much on my tongue now. So it's Parliament Hill. I'll be practicing that at home. Parliament Hill, Parliament Hill, Parliament Hill, Parliament. So it is like Parliament Hill, where you have Justin Trudeau right now trying to run the whole show. So Active Directory there is that central software that is trying to run the whole show. It's going to create that full environment. We're about to install Active Directory software on server 1. From there, it's going to then say, oh, you have server 2 as well? Okay, can you introduce that server 2 to me, that I am their boss right now? So server 2 will be joined to the domain, and server 1 will know, okay, as a domain controller, now I need to know what is my environment, what is around me, so I could secure you, I can give you inventory, and I can also authenticate, authorize you to do, and keep an account of who's doing what. So this is that central authority that we're about to install. It will create our network as well. And then there will be some terminologies coming your way. So we're going to talk about that. But right now, to get an idea, when you install Active Directory on server 1, it's going to become a domain controller because this machine has Active Directory installed that will give you all these central tasks or central functionalities, right? So we're going to expand on that more, but right now just some of the terminologies we're talking about, we're going to keep on repeating that again and again, and any questions are welcome there. So client machine, what is a client machine? Any example of a client machine? So there are two types of OSs there. There are server OS and then there are client OS. So what are the examples of server OS and what are the examples of client OS? Exactly. So if we go ahead within the client OS, I'm just gonna further categorize it in NOS, and then there is non-NOS. Ever heard of that? Non-NOS. Huh? NOS? What is NOS? And ThickNet?
That is without hard drive.
Oh, that is also a client. Yes, you're right. But this is network operating system. Network operating system, NOS, and non-network operating system, right? So, and server OS is server operating system, and client OS is client operating system. So server OS in Windows, since we're talking about the MCSA, so it started with Windows NT server. Server operating system will offer any services for masses, for thousands of clients, right? Server operating system. Client operating system is for one employee, one user, one client, one user, one client, one user, one client. But when there are thousands of users and thousands of client machines there, or client operating system, they can remotely connect to one server. Suppose one server is offering printing features, print server. Second server is just a file server. So thousands of clients will be connecting through client OS to one server that is offering a special feature. So just like on Parliament Hill, we have education ministry of education, there is ministry of defense, there is ministry of agriculture, there is ministry of, so every ministry is offering one specific service there, right? So server 2 could be a file server. Server 3, suppose we have, would be print server. Server 4 could be web server offering web services. Server 5 and so on, antivirus server, and then SQL server, database servers. So one server is offering one specific service to thousands of client machines and clients. So server OS, Windows NT server used to be there in before the year 2000. So and then Windows 2000 came, then 2003 came, Windows 2003 server came, then 2008 server came, then 2012 came, then now we're on 2016, and the next one is already coming in the market, 2019. So these are the server operating systems that will be in the banks, in all the big companies there. And client operating systems, there are two types: non-network operating systems, so non-OS, NOS, and network operating system. So if you see that there's Windows Win 7, Win 8, Win 10, and they are, you see professional written there, or ultimate written there, or enterprise, especially enterprise written there. So they are made for network operating systems. They are network operating systems, they are made for companies, right? So, and non-OS will be, any example of a non-OS? Non-OS is for home machines. You purchase a laptop, there's operating system installed there, and that is for actually home user. That doesn't have those advanced security and scalability features of network as the NOS. So any example? So Windows, so if there is Windows 7 Home Edition, if you see that, or Windows XP Home Edition, so home editions do not have the security and networking features that professional and enterprise editions have, right? No, that's a home edition. It's a home for home PCs. So they're not supposed to be used in company environment. In offices, they're not supposed to be used. So when they purchase in offices, oh, we have actually 200 more new Dell machines we have created, purchased. Now we need to have operating systems purchased. So they won't be purchasing home editions of those. They, for Windows 7, they will be purchasing professional Windows 7 or enterprise Windows 7. Enterprise will have more advanced features support, and professional will be a bit cheaper, would have a bit lesser than enterprise, some advanced networking security features there. So the thing is that if you're using any operating system at home, if it is home edition, that is kind of not that secure. But if you have professional edition, now I think latest computers all have, I think for home as well, they're giving professional edition because that is more secure. And we need security pretty much everywhere now in home computers as well as company computers. So this is just a small history of that, how many types of server operating systems are there and how many types of client operating systems are there. But when it comes down to this, then one more thing that you need to understand is this, that when you release a server operating system, at that time you release, or Microsoft releases, a client operating system that is going to be compatible with that particular server operating system. So if we go back to this, right now currently we have Windows Server 2016, so its client operating system is Windows 10. If you have Windows 2012, so its client operating system is Windows, actually 2012 is 8, sorry, 2012 is 7 and 8 both can be said there. 7 and 8 are the client, and then Windows 2008, we had XP, when Windows XP. So why is that? Can anyone tell me a reason that with 2016, why did they not rely with Windows XP as a client operating system? Why they have to release a client operating system new as well when they release a new server operating system? Architectures are different for kernel. The main thing is the features that are in 2016 server that it want to implement on the client machines. The Windows XP might not be compatible with those advanced features that have been introduced in 2016. So they have to release a client operating system that will be, suppose you have 80,000 users there and they're all on Windows XP, but on the server side you have released a 2016, you have upgraded from 2008 to 2016. So server side is saying, hey, I have advanced features I want to implement. Oh, you have all Windows XP? Those are not compatible with my advanced security features now. So please upgrade your client 85,000 client systems from XP to Windows 10 directly. So my 2016's advanced features could be implemented on those operating systems. Windows XP will reject that. It doesn't know what these features are. Its architecture is different than the architecture of Windows 2016. So they have to release a client OS when they release a server OS at the same time. So 2019, maybe Windows 12, maybe Windows 11, maybe Windows 10's advanced version might be mapped or attached to 2019 Windows. Maybe they come up with a new Windows there. So right now it's still in initial stages. So we understand the whole life cycle of how it is going, that you have these kind of operating systems. Now if we go back to our diagram, why did this discussion even start? So this is server 1 and server 2. These are true or false. These are all these both are client operating systems that we just installed on server 1 and server 2. True or false? Again, these are client operating systems that we installed on server 1 and server 2. False or yes?
Yes, because we haven't enabled the network section yet.
So this means they are client operating systems.
Yeah, actually client right now, but the network. No, these are networking because it has a facility.
Yeah, so this is server operating system.
Yeah.
See, that's it. Exactly. This is a server operating system. So server 1, server 2, we call it server, obviously. So they are server operating systems, and they're going to be, whatever service you put there will be available for thousands of client operating systems, right? So Active Directory, it has to be centrally put. DNS, one server is okay or two servers are okay. DHCP, one server is okay, two servers are okay. Now DHCP is, if I ask you what is DHCP in one liner, you will say what? It does what? It does name resolution? Provides IP addresses automatically, right? DHCP. But we're going to install that, we're going to discuss that in detail. Now what we need to do is server 1, we need to, suppose this is a new country being born. So you have a central location, from there you're going to run that country. So this is just like that analogy, right? That you are about to create a new network here, new environment called domain. So we're about to create a domain here, and we're going to name that domain as well. In order to do all that, we have to install this software called Active Directory Domain Services, and that is a role that we're about to install now, which will help us create our central network or domain controller. From there, we're going to start configuring the whole environment later. So server one is our Parliament Hill. Oh, okay. Analogy, right? So let's just go ahead and go to server one and log in there. We kind of understand that, okay, so we're about to install a software called Active Directory, yes, and DNS will be installed as well, and DHCP will be installed. Okay, let's see how it goes. What are the features of that? So let's log in from class password with our server one, and then we're going to install Active Directory inside server one. Now, Active Directory is a software that can only be installed in a server OS. It can never be installed in a client OS. You want to install Active Directory. Oops, that was an alarm. Sorry. So I haven't used that latest advanced feature called mute. Oh, it is mute actually. So yeah. So now what I was saying was Active Directory can never be installed on a client OS. So if you want to install Active Directory in Windows 7, Windows 8, Windows 10, Windows XP, it will not be installed there. It cannot be. It can only be installed on a server OS, which is, I gave you a long list of 2003, 2000, 2003, 2008, 2012, 2016, 2019, only those. So once you're logged in, you can see in your server manager your best friend here, and make sure you're on server one. Make sure you're on server one. So now it is, I hope everyone has clicked the dashboard. It's already clicked, right? Dashboard. In the dashboard, you can see that there are add roles and features. This is what throughout the courses we're going to be using this guy a lot, this option a lot, add roles and features. Then there's add other servers to manage. Suppose you have 100 other servers and, well, you're responsible for maybe 20 or 30 servers. You can add them here one by one and then remotely connect to them from that one machine and just manage those servers remotely, right? So if you want. So then there is a create server group. You can group together the servers. Suppose you have those 20 servers, you group them together into 555 according to whatever their features are, and connect this server to cloud services. Now that is very cool. Obviously the cloud is really in. You have to go towards cloud, and before you leave the college, you must be very well known with Azure, Microsoft Azure Cloud Services, and AWS, Amazon Web Services. These are also cloud services. So for that, we need to know how the local branches work, so we could then know how cloud data center works. When local data center, we know how it works, then we will know easily also how cloud data center works. So in local data centers, you will find Windows operating systems, Linux operating systems, and switches and routers, everything. So if we are on that server manager, let's click that add roles and features. I hope everyone's seeing that. So there are roles which are actually big software, features which are smaller software that help the role get installed and work properly. So add role would be a bigger software, a big role there that is offering one major service, and features are just helping that role to work properly. These are smaller software that help them. So let's click that add roles and features. Once you click that add roles and features in server one, then it says before you begin you should know all this. Well, it's just a welcome screen. It says that, okay, there are roles and features there. We're about to install the role that will help us install Active Directory, right? So that role is called Active Directory Domain Services. Now I'm sure you're going to be repeating that and create the exact environment at home as well. If you have those drives, I have put those download links there in OneNote as well, and you can just take it in your USB drives, all software from here as well. It's in the C drive of ISO folder, C drive in every desktop here as well. Okay guys, so let's click that next. And now we see that they're asking, hey, do you want to install role based or feature based installation, or do you want to go for remote desktop services installation? Now that is advanced option here, remote desktop services. If you've ever heard of Citrix before, so what really remote desktop services are, they do application virtualization. The example of that would be that suppose there are, your boss says, hey, you just joined as a system administrator, and your boss says, hey, there are 1000 machines, can you install MS Office on them? And he says, I don't care how. You're a system administrator, figure out, good luck. So, and you have 1 week or one weekend actually. So you want to install MS Office in 1000 machines. Any idea how would you do that when you have very less time? Are there any ways you already know MS Office is? Huh? What happened? It just turn off? Like turn off as a monitor screen or?
It's just the keyboard. I need something.
Oh. It's no display or there's a power? Okay. So no power means you have to turn it on again. It was power off for some reason. Oh, very good. So yeah, then we're going to. We didn't do anything much till now. So first you will log in, then you will start the first machine. We just need server 1 right now.
So it will go from the beginning of the thing.
Like from the beginning, from yesterday, what we did. So you have to start. Just kidding. Yeah. No. It's just server 1. So so you know.
We saved everything, right? So
Yeah, it is all saved. Not really. I'm just kidding. No, I'm just scaring you because you're already half scared, so I wanted you to be fully scared now. Just kidding. Okay. So but it is safe. Yeah, but we did not go beyond that, so we're still safe. That's what I'm saying. If we had gone and configured a lot of stuff, then if we hadn't saved it at that time, yeah, then we have to redo that. So not much to redo right now. I don't know. Maybe the bag here dropped.
Don't do that.
So this means Sharon has to get coffee for everyone. I hope your throat is getting better, Sharon. Get that.
So tiny to talk.
Oh man.
So this was the
Yeah, understand. The password is understand. And then we go ahead. So guys, I'm not pausing that because when I pause the video, then I sometimes forget to resume. Then everything that goes on is not recorded, and then it's like seriously. So we're just gonna double click view workstation, and then we're gonna start. Even if you start just server 1, that's okay because we're doing pretty much everything on server 1 right now. Only on server 1, yeah. But you can start both if you want. Right. Server 1 is more important now. Let's start that. So it happens. Toronto is a big city. Things happen. So, that's another word to say. So server 1, let's select that, and yeah, it's still loading. Oh yeah, skip. And server 1 is there. So power on. And then you will be logging in from this one as well. No, just server 1. Yeah. And yeah, last password.
But the videos are coming.
Oh yeah.
Because they're not there yet.
Yeah, so I have to render yesterday's video and today's video as well now. So it was 2 videos.
The stuff you're typing now, it won't appear till later.
Oh, this is what I'm typing here in OneNote. That will appear in 10 to 20 seconds. But I haven't typed that in OneNote. What I was typing it in MS Paint.
Okay, but what you've been typing.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that should be there in 10 to 20 seconds. And then add rows and features. And next. There we are.
So can I server 2 also can I?
Yeah, start 2 in the background. But we're gonna work on 1. Alright guys, so if yeah, so I was gonna create that diagram here, and that diagram is that what is remote desktop services? Just a small view of that. So suppose the boss says that 1,000 machines need to be having MS Office. So you say, hey boss, how about if I don't install it through SCCM server? I will install it with remote desktop services. So what is remote desktop services? That instead of installing MS Office in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 1,000 machines there, how about you install it on 4 servers, 4 big servers there, and they're heavy duty in terms of the hardware. And once you install MS Office on 4 big servers here, 4 big servers here. So what happens is that you give those machines here the access. So you only give the icons here. So MS Office Word icon here, PowerPoint icon here, and Excel icon here. When the users double click that Word icon from their machine, the application actually starts working from here, right? Application is opened here, so the memory and CPU of these servers are being used. So the benefit of that is that you can connect to this application from outside as well, from wherever you're in the company as well, and you can be portable because these are just icons. And second thing is that you don't have to maintain that application in 1,000 machines. You have to maintain it in just 4 servers here, right? So that is remote desktop services. That is also called application virtualization, right? And Citrix is the biggest actual it's the leader in application virtualization, and Citrix totally depends on Microsoft for that. So
So if you're
mhm.
installing Citrix, you go to remote desktop server.
In the background you have to install this. You have to purchase a license of remote desktop services, then you install Citrix. And Citrix protocol is very light. Nobody had come to that stage till now. So if you double click the Word icon from your home, it opens as if it is in LAN. It opens, it's so fast and light. So you have to then install Citrix on top of RDS, and you purchase Citrix license as well. Then you start using Citrix. So guys, here we were talking about, this is advanced, and this is if you're into application virtualization as an advanced administrator, then you go for this option. We're going to go for the basics, and that is role based or feature based installation. So if it is selected, click next. Once we click next here, so the next screen is this, and does it say server 1?
Yeah.
Okay, server 1. I hope it's not saying server 2. So next, and then you can see the roles window, and these are the major roles. And the MCS is 70-740, 741, 742. They all revolve around majority of the roles here, right? So we're gonna go for the second one, and that is Active Directory Domain Services. And we're going to select this role. As soon as you select this role, it's going to pop up, hey, there are some important features that you need to install as well, and these features will help this role work better. So you say, yeah, whatever. I mean, like, just go ahead and click add features, which means obviously these features are important for this role. So let's click add features. If you have clicked the add features, I hope everyone did. So now we can go next, because we're installing that software that will help us in configure Active Directory and create our first domain of our environment. So next, and since we added all the necessary features already, so we can leave this features page alone, unless you want something else as an advanced user. We don't need to select anything here, and click next. And it says that, hey, you can connect your local Active Directory to Azure or the cloud or their Active Directory as well, which is in Microsoft data centers. So it just says, yes, you can do that too. So what?
Sorry to interrupt.
No problem.
Like,
Yeah, you
so
were saying?
by default, there's like a square on file and storage services, 1 of 12 installed or whatever. So that means that
Oh.
that's been installed. Or?
Are you in this page?
No, where you select Active Directory.
Yeah, previous and previous. This one, right?
Yeah. Oh, so you have it too. Like
File and storage services has some of the features added there. So if I expand that, right now just the storage services is there. Nothing else is selected. So yeah, but if there's a square here, just means that 1 or 2 services may be selected from inside as well. So that was on roles, guys. And then next, and then there is that features. Nothing in the features, because we already selected the window that popped up, selected the features that were required. So then nothing here, click next. And on this page, it is just saying that you can connect your local Active Directory to the Microsoft Azure Cloud Active Directory, which comes later, which is very important for your career, that you know what is Azure Active Directory and what is the Microsoft Azure overall cloud solution, which is just somebody else's data center, right? Microsoft data centers. So let's click next on this screen. Nothing to do on this page. Activity domain services, nothing to do. Once we go here, you can see restart option here. Restart the destination server automatically if required. So sometimes that happens that you have configured so much, but when you're about to finalize the configuration on a server, it says, oh, there's a pending restart already. So why didn't you restart for any previous configuration that was done, but you were supposed to restart, but you didn't? So I'm not gonna let you do any further configurations now until you restart for the previous configuration. Suppose you did previous configurations. So this option just automatically decides if there was a pending restart, it will restart for you and will continue with this configuration as well. If you otherwise, if there is no pending restart, it will not restart the machine. So you leave the decision to restart or not to restart on this option here. So press yes after selecting that and click install. So we're installing the binary files or the help files that will ultimately let us install Active Directory. As soon as we install Active Directory, it's going to ask all the infrastructure related questions. Hey, how do you want to name your domain? What is the domain name? And you want to name your network something? Yeah, we're going to name that too. And also many other security questions and network questions there as well. And then it will install and create your first network. So when it is done installation, there will be a link showing there. So do not click the close button if it is done. Do not click the close button when it is done. Okay, it's done for me. Is it done for everyone? Yay. Okay, done. So do you see this button, promote the server to a domain controller? Let's click that. So once you click that, promote the server to a domain controller, now comes options, deployment configuration. So that's Active Directory Domain Services Configuration Wizard. So it says here, add a domain controller to an existing domain. So domain controller is the machine. Domain is the name, is the network of Microsoft. So in that existing domain, do you want a second server that has the Active Directory software? So this is our first server. It is not the second server. We don't have any existing domain. We are about to create a domain. So there is no existing domain here. So first option doesn't apply to us. Second option is, yeah, you were saying? Oh, so see this? If the promote is there, this one, I'll just make it bigger now. So when this finished, did you click the close button? It's okay. So then in that case, you should see that in Server Manager as well, in the background, and that is a yellow triangle here. And here, if you click the promote this server is click option is there as well. And you got it right. Okay, cool. And let's go ahead and you should see these here, the options. And the first option is that add a domain controller to an existing domain. We are about to create a domain controller. This machine is a domain controller and we don't have an existing domain, so this doesn't apply to us. Then we go for add a new domain to an existing forest. So forest is the highest logical boundary. Suppose you have a new country here and the country has to be defined with borders. Hey, your border is from here to here. International border starts from here and it ends here. And some borders are so unique for some countries. It's like very, very thin. I don't know how they decide that. But, you know, it just goes way inside the other country and then comes outside. And then the country border still starts. I don't know how they decide that, but...
You have another country inside our country.
Yeah, it's like the whole border is really going inside. The country has to all move away. Oh, the rest is not our country. But after 1 kilometer, this is our country again. So
They forgot to install the forest back then.
yes, exactly. That's why. Okay. So, guys, the thing is why I'm giving that example, that there's existing forest, and then we talked about borders. So I'm going to be now trying to tell you what is forest, what is tree, what is domain, and what is site, what is then OUs and groups. So we need to understand that at least once, and then we're going to be at least going ahead and repeating that. But right now the thing is, we don't have an existing forest as well, because we are in the process of creating the first forest, first site, first tree, first domain, first everything, right? So we don't have anything existing, so these two options do not apply to us. So we're going to go for add a new forest. Add a new forest just means forest will have it is a logical boundary. You do not touch it. There is nothing there. It's just a logical boundary, but there are some forest level features there, and you can just enable them or disable them. But it is a logical boundary of your domain. Hey, after that, our domain finishes, our network finishes after that. But there are some forest level features that you install. So let's just give it a name, and then I'm going to be explaining. There's another document I'm going to be opening, and then I'm going to create diagrams now according to explain the concepts here. So if you click add a new forest, it is still saying the root domain name. You have to name your network something, right? So let's just go for your first name domain.local. You can just put here anything you want. It could be bmw.toyota, it could be banana.mango, it could be anything. But they say that there has to be a prefix, then there should be a dot, and then there should be a suffix. So before the dot is called prefix, after the dot is called suffix. So see this right now, if I make it very big, so I have written it like this: your first name, then there has to be a dot, your first name domain dot, and local, because it's a local domain, it's not on internet. But you can type here anything dot anything dot anything dot anything, whatever. This is your network, right? So whatever you want to type, you can type that. So let's just stick to some kind of naming convention here. So your first name domain dot local. If your first name is very very long, then make it first four letters of your name. In George Brown, there are people from Mexico, there are people from many other countries, and when I say your first name domain, so their first name is 20 characters, and that is like, whoa, okay, whoa. Then the activity says I cannot go ahead now. So then I say, okay, make it 25% of your first name.
Is this going to be what they see on the network, or this is what they're going to connect to?
This is the name of the domain of the well, it is the name of the forest plus the root domain as well, and it is the name of the tree as well, which I'm about to explain now. But yes, everything will be connecting to it.
Okay.
Definitely.
So we are creating a tree right now.
Yeah. So this is the forest name. This is the tree name as well. This is the domain name as well.
It's the seed of everything.
It's the seed of everything. It's the center of everything. It's the Big Bang. Oh, okay. Yeah, Big Bang, right? Revolution, exactly. Okay, so but I'm gonna explaining that now, and then we're going to understand. Forest. What is that? A tree? Okay. So anyway, but you see that root domain name here of the forest. You have given the root domain name, right? So let's click next, and once you click next here, so we're gonna stay on this page now. Okay. So this page is showing domain controller options. Then there is forest functional level. There's a domain functional level. There's a DNS here. There's a global catalog here. There's RODC here, read-only domain controller. While we didn't even fully install the read and write domain controller. So, and then there's DSRM, which is directory services restore mode. So what are all these guys? So for that, I'm just gonna create some diagrams here now, and that would explain our scenario, and we need to understand. We'll try to understand, and then try to watch this video just a couple of thousand times, and then you'll be good as well.
So can we make the restore the same as the password?
Restore?
Yeah, the restore.
DSRM should be actually different and difficult password. Should be totally different and difficult. So now I'm just going for day one intro, and oh yeah, in that I have a document. So every time I was creating documents, that what I was now saving that, there was a lot of effort. So now I create that document, and well, not now, later, way before, and I'm going to share it in OneNote. Woohoo! Yay!
Share it so that we can access all of this.
Yes, exactly, sir. So it would be, the definitions of active directory components, directory components. Okay, so I will be. Yeah, you're right. Man, that was the yawn number 675. So I have a yawn counter built in to me. Oh, okay. So here, this forest. So if you see that, in 2 to 10 seconds, it will be in your OneNote now as well. If you've opened the OneNote, then it should be showing there now. So I'll just make it bigger. So the first thing is the forest, and when we talk about forest here, it is a logical component. So logical means it cannot be configured like by you cannot touch it, you cannot click. It's a logical component. It is a final boundary of a Microsoft network. We can implement forest level permissions. AD recycle bin is a forest level feature on our network. It contains trees. So when we say it contains trees, you will say obviously forest contains trees. It's not going to contain oceans, right? It's going to contain trees. But this tree is not that tree. So it contains trees, which in turn contains domains. So it is also the security boundary of a Microsoft network. So I'm just going to copy that, and I'll just go further to this diagram and go for forest and wow. Okay, so see, that's the biggest that it can get. Okay, so I'll just quickly go for. Oh, seriously? Oh, wow. Really? Okay, anyway, I'll just go back and forth. So it is logical component. So now Microsoft, when they create that, they create forests like that, or even when they're referring to a branch, it is always like that. It's always a pyramid, right? So they're really impressed with Egyptian pyramids. So now this is a full company network, suppose, and you create a forest inside. So forest is that logical boundary out. So your network actually finishes there. On the forest level, you can have any kind of feature. If you implement that feature, so it could be implemented on all the components inside. Now when we talk about all the components, so first of all, let's just say that this is the final security boundary. After that, you don't have anything on the network. But within the forest, normally what happens, suppose there are multiple branches here. So there's a Toronto branch, there's a New York branch, and then there's a London branch. So suppose this is the Toronto branch here. So if we want to attach it with that NY branch, and then we have London branch. So now these branches are and you want to install that first. So what happens is that you will create some domain controllers, two domain controllers, suppose here in this branch. And normally it's supposed to be two domain controllers. If one goes down, the other can keep the show running, right? So then there are domain controllers here as well, right? So and they are really for those branches there. And so the forest can be controlling global branches there as well, which means that it can cover this branch and that branch. They can all be part of the same forest, right? But how does it really go ahead when it comes to hierarchy? Let's just repeat the forest points, then we will go to tree, then we'll go to site, then we'll go to domain, and then everything will start making sense when we have finished all the components, because they all depend on each other for their explanation as well. So forest, it is a logical component. It is a final boundary of a Microsoft network. We can implement forest level permissions and features. It contains trees, which in turn contains domains. It is also the security boundary of a Microsoft network. So within that, you can secure all your users, computers, servers, everything, right? OUs and groups. Then what is tree then? So tree is, it is also a logical component of Active Directory. It is known as DNS namespace that is used to define network resources by name in a hierarchical structure. See, so easy. Now in English. Okay, so tree is a group of domains. Now, what is tree? It is just like, do you remember your family tree? Suppose your best friend asks you, "Hey, I have my family tree. I have a book there, and my granddad and grand granddad and grand. So I have a family tree here. So maybe we know our grandpa and grandpa and grandpa, and maybe there's a book there that you're maintaining. So this is exactly what the example for tree here as well. It is first of all a DNS namespace. Now the example here is DNS namespace. If I go back here now, there, suppose there are 30,000 users here, and you have obviously then 30,000 machines here as well. Now this is a big network, and you need to identify everything with a proper naming convention, right? So 30,000 computers there as well, and maybe you have 500 servers there, right? 500 servers, and one of them or two of them are domain controllers. Others are, two file servers and three database servers and two web servers. Why two? Because you need to make them highly available. So now within 30,000 users, Toronto branch has how many users? Maybe 10,000 users, right? 10,000 users here, and other branches have also, okay, 30. Let's just divide that among all equally. So they all have 10,000 users here, right? So those users and their machines, so 10,000 machines as well. Now, what is tree? I'm just going to explain that now. It is a namespace. So tree is our DNS namespace, if anyone wants to explain that in the interview. Now, what does that mean? As soon as we created our domain, you named your domain as your first name domain.local, right? Now, what if you want to create a domain in each branch as well? So it will be then ny dot and your domain name, and then it will be London dot, so one dot your domain name, right? So this means first of all the branch names you get that that the machine or the network is this, and if you go for Toronto, then there is obviously you would just put here in the start Tor dot, right? Tor dot, Tor dot your first name domain dot. Now you know first of all by name. Oh, okay, we have three branches. Tor dot your first name domain, NY and London. So we get to know, okay, there we have three branches and these are the names. But what's so special about that? The specialty is that tree, the name goes into the resources as well to identify the resources. What do you mean by that? 10,000 users. First user is John. Suppose John at, and its name after that, which branch John belongs to, and which domain ultimately John belongs to. This naming convention is put there because suppose your company is global, and there are so many companies that are global. They have thousands and thousands of employees spread across the globe in different continents, multiple branches there. So they can scale up to that, and they can still locate their, which branch exactly are you talking about right now, which printer in which branch, or which server in which branch you're talking about when you're talking about this. So suppose I'm just going to first start naming that the server 1, server 01. As soon as it's part of this domain, server 01 dot tor dot your first name domain dot local. This is how they name it. When you add resources to the domain, they name it exactly that way. If you've created the resource here, you have to join it to domain. As soon as you join the domain name attaches to the resource name, right? So suppose there's a printer, so you will create printer 01 dot tor dot your first name domain, and it goes on, right? Dot local. Now this is the same that can go here as well for this branch, and not exactly the same obviously. So how would you put it here? User Jane is there, Jane, and obviously this is NY. So you can easily track this guy if it was in log files and there were among 30,000 users. You want to know where Jane is belonging to. Oh, Jane at NY. Okay, that's NY branch. Okay, let's call the NY branch that this user has breached our network, and so you would locate right away server 22 here, suppose. So server 22 dot NY. You would know right away, oh, server 22 has a lot of viruses. Where is that in our big environment? It is in New York branch. Okay, so we get that. So you understand that by tree is a DNS namespace, which means the name, every resource is attached to the branch name and the domain name.
So you wouldn't. What's the difference with the .com? You wouldn't call
Yeah.
it .com or
We would not want to,
right.
but we can as well. So yeah, so the thing is that .com would be normally related to the email or exchange servers. That it is John at companyname.com. So you will create a website for that, or domain name you will purchase that, and in the domain name DNS records you will put a record there. So anyone sending email to John at companyname.com, the email will go first to the domain name on the internet. From there, it will redirect to the A record. A record is the record of the router of the company. Router of the company will forward it to the exchange server. So, but the thing is that giving local domain names ending with .net, .com, it's okay. You can give that. But many administrators you will see that they are giving .local or they are giving .something else there. Just to say that, hey, we have enough domains on the internet and we don't want to confuse our local domains here with the internet domains. Although technically, yes, you can do that. Yeah, right. So okay, here server22.ny, and you get the idea now. Printer 01, so printer 03.ny. So you get that anywhere globally the branch is, you can just name that resource. You can know that resource by that name. So tree is a DNS namespace, which means every resource name must end with its branch and DNS name, right? So whatever is the domain name and subdomain name. Now it doesn't just stop here. Suppose you have Toronto branch, it has Mississauga branch, and suppose it has downtown branch, it has Scarborough branch. So you would just go, and it is still attached to Toronto, right? Or suppose downtown branch, and then there is another branch within Toronto somewhere else. So how would you name that? Obviously the same way. And there is user Jack there or Bob there. So Bob at downtown or dt dot tor dot your first name domain. This means that whatever subdomains you have, the name is written in such a way that you will at once locate which exact branch Bob belongs to, and where do you want to call if you want to contact Bob right away just by seeing its name. So as soon as Bob is created in the downtown branch within Toronto, so you would know that, oh, Bob's dt.tor. Okay, it's in Toronto. He's in Toronto branch. So same goes for the printer and server there. That you would just check that by name. So this is with tree.
So
Yeah.
the dot would represent a server. So
Yeah.
your name domain is the forest, the local domain.
Mm-hmm.
Then Tor is another server,
Another domain.
another domain, right?
First name is the resource name. The first one.
Tor is another server. Branch.
No,
Then
it's a branch. Yeah.
And then
So here, yeah.
DT would be another.
So DT is exactly. So first, this is the top domain. Then under that, this you can just call it a subdomain, and then subdomain. Here,
Okay.
there's a child domain, child domain, child domain, child domain. Mm-hmm.
So we're going to get to that authentication, like how are they, like when they're authenticating, are they like authenticating to that subdomain, or first they authenticate to the main and then to the sub? Or?
So they directly authenticate to their local domain controllers, which is sub. Suppose DT is the subdomain, Tor is the subdomain, and the main domain is your first name domain.local. So they just get authorized from their local domain controllers, and whichever name they got the full dt.tor. That domain. So they don't have to really go through that hierarchy of every authentication. Doesn't have to go for first take the authentication from the top domain, then the lower domain, then the lower domain. So they just get authenticated quickly from our servers, local domain controllers, which are already authenticated. They have been designated. Yeah, they have been delegated the authentication from the other domain, and the top domain has already delegated the subdomain. Oh, you authenticate your users. You don't have to come to me for every
Okay,
authentication.
so the authentication is just locally based on
Exactly.
this geolocation.
It's local geolocation. Exactly. So they don't have to if this means traffic would be huge then. If the other way.
So basically, like for this for this authentication, like these like secondary domains are already authenticated to the primary.
Yes,
domain,
they are delegated to take care of their own local authentications.
Okay.
Authentication traffic never leaves the WAN connection to get authentication first from that, then this, then this. They are locally just authenticated, and the local domains are already delegated to do that. Okay, guys. So we understand that when we say forest, it's the outer boundary. It's the topmost boundary. There, you can have some forest-wide services, but there is nothing above forest to implement it on the forest. From the forest, you can implement it on a tree. From the tree, you can implement it on a domain, and from domain, you can go on. So tree is like a namespace, just like a family tree, and all the resources have to follow that naming convention. Now, banks are huge, insurance companies are huge, so normally they have multiple trees as well. What is a multiple tree?
That multiple three. Okay.
Another name introduced. So this company who's running, suppose that was Tor dot Bank of America dot local, but that same parent company also runs a luxury car, renting luxury cars, or sell luxury cars, or Bitcoin. So they want their employees to open. Suppose this is in one building. They have this a bank. Suppose this company was a bank, and the other type of company is just about luxury cars. So they can create a second tree within the same forest called luxurycars.com dot local. And the only thing is, within forest you can create two different named domain. Within one forest, you would only create two different named domains when their employees want to access each other's resources easily. Then you create different named domains within one forest, so employees of each other can access each other's printers so easily. Because they're part of the same forest, this means their security connections are already there. They can be authenticated easily already, right? But this is an advanced concept, we don't need to go inside. First we have to absorb this one. And so, and this is not the first time we're doing, first and last time. I mean, this is the first time but not last time. We're going to be repeating that. I'm going to be throwing questions at you. Yeah. And then watch the video again and again. By tonight you should be getting that. So in on the weekend, and also go for YouTube. What is forest? Windows Microsoft Forest, and YouTube, listen to those lectures as well.
But sometimes I get confused the way of you explain, and they are.
Oh yeah, that
Different.
could
That
be.
confuses me more. I thought
Okay.
I said stop doing it now.
Exactly. Yeah, you can just read the books as well, but the more knowledge you gain from there, throughout the three courses, we're going to be talking a lot about that again and again.
So, if I want to get a book, so what do you go like server?
Well, normally it is Inside Out series there. So Windows Server 2016 Inside Out. That's the name of the book.
Then, when you go to the library, you can get that.
Windows Server 2016, if you search for that, there will be, I think, multiple books there. And you can, also reserve it online as well if you want. So, okay, guys. But what we understand is the topmost is the forest. Then comes the tree. Tree is just a name, but it's just not, like its importance. You can understand right away. You want to locate a resource across your huge environment. Because of the naming convention, the DNS namespace that tree gives, you can easily locate that resource, uh, easily locate that name, that which network, which child domain, which child domain this guy belongs to, and which domain this printer belongs to. So all that can be done because you have put the naming convention in such an organized way that you would know right away. Okay, we're talking about London branch now. Oh, we're talking about the downtown London branch, downtown dot London branch. So there could be different branches, different buildings as separate, and you can just locate them throughout the network. So if you give, so tree is a DNS namespace, and it gives you same name at the end of every resource. Otherwise, then in third course, we will talk about different trees as well. We're going to talk about different multiple forests connecting to each other. That is the third course. This is the first course, right? So we talked about DNS or tree here. Then we are going for site. This is the easiest one. First of all, site is a physical component, so it is physical, right? Which means what? Site is, it is a physical campus. It is this is the physical component of Active Directory. It is divided by a slower network called WAN. So one site, this is one site here, right? This building is one site. And suppose there was a NetPlus Mississauga branch. That is our second site then. So site is, divided by a WAN connection, right? So if we go to this diagram here, how many sites you have here? Ha, gotcha there. Okay, you're saying 3. Anyone else? How many sites we have here in this diagram?
Pictures or this, right?
Like if we go for the information on the diagram, and it might lead you to that, how many sites? You're saying 3? You're saying 3? Anyone else?
How many physical components?
Yeah, so if we see the definition, and definition is it's a physical campus. So this is a physical campus here, a building, any kind of building, a 10-story building, a 1-story building, single-story building, but it's a building. That's it, physical campus. And 2 sites could be one site, then WAN connection, then another site starts, right? So sites, if it's just one huge campus, that's just one site. So if you go to Seneca College or Humber College or Durham College, they are very big physical area there, right? So, but they are connected through LAN. This means they are one site. But if they had to go through router to the ISP and then to the other router and then connect, so over the WAN if they had to connect, then they are 2 sites. But within LAN, within one physical campus, they are just one site. Now if we explain that in the diagram, how many do we have? That was a quick one. Anyone else? So 3 are saying 3, 2 are saying what? How many sites do you see here in this diagram, given the information that you have? You're right, exactly, 3. Okay, so 3 are the sites. And how do we see that there are 3 sites? Why did you say 3? What do you, yeah? Location. So Toronto, 1 building, New York, 1 building, London, 1 building. Obviously, when it's a different city, there has to be 1 building there. Unless we did mention, so I put that there. I did not create for the downtown here. It could have been 4 as well, but I did not create another pyramid here or triangle here to represent another building. So site is a physical campus. That's it, a building, right? So if it is divided with each other through a slower network called WAN, then in that case you have 3 sites now. They're all connected through WAN to each other, right? Okay, so well, that was the easier one. And if we go to domain, that's where all the action happens. If you are resolving day-to-day tickets there, one ticket says that there are three employees were hired in sales department. So there is a ticket, and ticket came to you that, hey, the employee name is this, and their designation is this, and their branch name is this, and phone number is this. Can you create a Active Directory username for all 3 employees there, and add them to the group's sales department group there, email group there. Add them to sales department email group. Also add them to the printers which are permitted only by sales department employees. Only sales department employees can print in those printers. Add them to them there as well. So all this you get there. So where do you do that? You don't do it on forest level. You don't do it on tree level. As soon as you install the Active Directory successfully, after that forest is created. That is created once. It is created now. Tree is created. When you give a name, a tree has been born there. A born tree has been born, right? So remember that you just gave a name there, back there, your first name domain.local. So you have given a name there to your domain. Any resource in your domain will end with this name now, from now on. Your first name domain.local. Now we're going to create 390 users. Every user's end will be ending with the domain name that you just gave now, right? That is called tree. So you've created the forest and tree. Site is already decided. This is the site. This is the laptop is just our site. It's a physical campus, right? And then the domain, that's where you do day-to-day tasks. So you want to create users, 390 users. You have to come to the domain level. You want to create organizational units or groups. You want to add printers to Active Directory. You want to add 10,000 computers to the Active Directory. You do it on the domain level. So that is called actually the administrative unit of Active Directory. On the domain level, you do management, administration, secure, do inventory, all that you do on domain level. It is a logical component of Active Directory. We do all day-to-day tasks on the domain level. Active Directory user and computers, for example, creating, modifying, deleting users, computers, organizational units, groups, printers, servers. So all users, computers, printers, servers, OUs, groups, etc. are called objects. So suppose I ask you oh, did you create 100 users that I told you to create yesterday? So yes, I created 100 users. So in fact, you created 100 objects in the Active Directory. Every entity there is called object. Oh, did you add 3 servers there to the Active Directory? So these are 3 objects created in the Active Directory. Did you add 1 printer? So printer, user, server, group, everything is called an object in Active Directory. Every
that is in the that is in the thing that the paper that you gave us. Objects.
that is in the paper.
The,
Yeah, exactly. So, hey guys, the thing is that on the domain level, you really configure and manage everything, right? And then comes down the domain controller. So we are about to install Active Directory on a server, server 1. So that after Active Directory is fully installed, it will be called domain controller. What is the purpose of a domain controller? Like Parliament Hill. Its domain controller is having Active Directory. Active Directory is your, it's like a king or the crown. Active Directory is like a crown that you're putting there. And now, from now on, you're about to control everything from this server called domain controller. So server 1 will be designated from now on, after Active Directory is installed, it will be designated as domain controller because it has Active Directory software installed. Server 2 will not have Active Directory software installed. It can be called a member server or a standalone server, but it is not a domain controller because it does not have Active Directory software installed, right? But server 1 is Active Directory software. It's going to be installed there, so it will be referred to as domain controller. From there, you run the whole show. You control the whole environment, right?
it cannot be a backup, no. Not a backup because they don't have backup anymore.
Yeah. It cannot, backup can be done from any member server. So member servers have specific tasks. One can be file server, one can be backup server as well.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it's not a rule of being a backup.
Oh, okay. It cannot. So you can have 2 domain controllers there as well.
Right, okay.
Yeah, and one is the root DC, other is the replica DC.
Replica, right.
Replica can be that backup DC as
Yeah,
well.
right.
And we're going to be actually creating that in next class. We're going to be creating a replica DC. We're going to check about replication between the two. We're going to prove that it is replicating. And then, yeah.
Because in the older days, we called it backup.
Yes, there was PDC and BDC.
Yeah.
Yeah, it used to be PDC and BDC. Okay, so here the primary domain controller and backup domain controller. It used to be. So guys, then we're going to talk about organizational units. These are just yellow folders there that you can, or they're called containers as well. Suppose there's a sales OU or organizational unit you can create. Inside that, you can put users and computers of sales department. Then you create a marketing organizational unit. You can say a marketing OU. You can put users and computers of marketing in that OU. So we're going to be creating those. We're going to be testing those. But OUs or organizational units are yellow folders that are in Active Directory. Once we install, then we're going to check that out as well. But they are used to organize the resources. So if there are users and computers belonging to sales department, you create a container or folder called sales OU, and then you add the users of sales and marketing there to organize them. Then comes the groups. So groups are, groups normally are security groups and distribution groups. Distribution groups are email groups. Ever were you ever a part of any email group where the email would come to you in Exchange server? So, Mike, were you a part of Yahoo group or Google group ever? Are you still of some group that okay, Toronto exciting places dot, and subgroup, and you become a member there, and then whenever the email comes to that group, it comes to all the members of the group. So that is called distribution groups or distribution list there. Security group says that if you create a security group, you can give resources, access to the resources for the members of that group. Suppose I go inside here, and now there are suppose you created a security group called sales group, sales DEPT group. Now what happens is, and you have here 100 members, 100 users inside that. They are all member of this group. So what happens now, the boss says, hey, there's a new printer here, and that printer, please give access to all 100 users of sales department to that printer. Now you are the administrator, you need to do that. Either you will add one guy, so user John is added from this 100, then Jane is added, then Bob is added, then Patrick is added, and then you keep on adding all the users one by one. That will take some time, right? How about, so you remember, oh, I created a group of all these users. Why am I adding one by one all the users to give access to this printer? Why don't I just add that one group here and click allow, or allow and print? So click that. So once you add one group, all the members of the group gets that permission. So this is a benefit of group. So whenever there's a new department created, or whenever you just join a company, you can just see that, go through that. Oh, sir, did we create a group of the whole department? Why? Because we may have to give access to all members to many resources, shared folder or printers there. So we will just add a group, and everyone in the group will get that access instead of one guy, second guy, third guy, fourth, fifth, sixth. If all need access, then you add a group. Suppose 5 out of 100 need access, then just add 5 one by one. So, but security groups, you can just give access to the members of the group. Any network resource, you can give access to that resource, to that group, and all the members will get that. So we understand that security group is created, but we're going to be doing a lot of labs for that. This is just an initial introduction there. And users are users and computers are computers. Okay. Do we need explanation for that too? Okay. Users are AD objects, Active Directory objects, with which we can log in and use the network resources. So those are users. And computers are, these can be joined to domain and can be securely used by users to access network resources. So how can user connect to a printer? Obviously, the user has to be logging into a computer first, and then that computer has to be part of that domain, part of that network. It should be authorized by that network. Computer has to be authorized. Then you can use the network resources or domain resources. So, okay, we have gone through all the brutal definitions here, and now we're trying to keep our eyes open as well, which is also a very good effort. It's like, I really want to, okay. So now let's get back to what we were doing. So I'm just going to be reminding all that. There are some extra definitions also coming there. So when they come, we're going to talk about that. So let's go back to our domain here. So you are on this page, right? So the first thing is forest functional levels. So do you want those features to be implemented in your domain that would introduce with Windows 2016, or do you want to introduce those features in the domain that were introduced in 2008? So you're implementing a latest server, but why do you think that there is 2008, 2008 R2, 2012, 2012 R2 is written there? So backward compatibility, what does that mean?
So Windows 7 can work and Windows 8 can work with this new machine architecture.
Exactly. So what happens here is, suppose I do this, forest functional level is 2008 right now. So this means maybe you have older servers already there in the environment, although you're upgrading this particular server from 2008 to 2016, but there are other branches that have 2008 servers as well. In that case, there should be backward compatibility. Hey, 2008, don't worry, I am 2016, but I'm supporting your features as well. Whatever older features you have, I'm not denying them right now, I'm supporting them. So you can keep on using your older features, but later when you change the forest functional level to 2016, now only my features, latest features will be implemented. If you select that, 2008 servers, bye bye.
You use the
Yeah, so if you exactly this, if you do that, this means, hey, older versions, we still are okay with you. Yeah, backward compatibility, that is called backward compatibility. So the word is backward compatibility. So 2008 servers can survive until then. Suppose in New York branch, London branch, you have 2008 servers, but in Toronto branch, you have 2016. But this is the Forest level. Forest has other branches as well, right? If other branches has older servers, you cannot directly go to 2016 on the Forest level. You cannot. You then go to New York branch, upgrade it to 2016, go to London branch, upgrade it to 2016, then come back here and upgrade it to on the Forest level 2016. So, but if those are older, you cannot go on the top level with 2016 because it might not let the older server work after that. Right? Now, just to clarify one point here, I'm just going to write that down, and that is here. I'm going to go down, way down. Now, this page has a lot of, so in fact, I'm just going to create a sub page for this page, and that is a Forest functional level. So, suppose you have, so if suppose there are three branches, there are three branches, and Toronto branch has Windows Server 2016, and then London and has Windows 2008, and New York has Windows 2000 has also Windows 2008. But what Windows 2008? Windows, no, in Windows. So what 2008? So this is the point to understand, guys. If it's a domain controller, remember domain controller gives you AAA. What is AAA?
Authentication, authorization, accounting, audit.
Exactly. So Toronto branch has Windows Server 2016 domain controller, right? And then others are also 2008 domain controller, not member servers, domain controllers. Then it becomes critical. If they are domain controllers and you have upgraded, so if they are older, so let me just give you the rule of thumb here. If there are older OS domain controllers, and if we upgrade Forest level to 2016, then all older 2008 domain controllers will be immediately disconnected. Immediately disconnected, which means bye bye for your job. So I mean, like so you have to be very careful what you're doing. So suppose they are disconnected, so all the 10,000 users that are about to log in the morning, last night you upgraded 2016 and you're like, I've upgraded 2016, my salary will be raised. Yeah.
Those users are not connected to the Forest. It is connected to the local domain.
So they won't be able to authenticate.
But they're authenticated through that domain.
Yeah, so suppose there's a local domain controller there, right, and the users were supposed to connect from there. Now there are two things there. If you have created a child domain normally has its own network. A child domain has its own users, and those users are not replicated to the parent domain. So if the child domain has Windows 2008 and that 2008 is gone now, they have nowhere else to get authentication from.
Okay, so everything is at the main office then.
So,
Like, yes, this control is in the main office. That 2016.
So the child doesn't have its own.
No, child domain has its child domain Active Directory does not replicate with parent domain Active Directory. So parent domain has suppose 20,000 users. Child domain has 5 users.
Right.
So 20,000 users and 5 users will not replicate. The Active Directory of child domain does not talk to the Active Directory of the parent domain.
Right, but the 5 users will be able to authenticate locally.
Only locally as long as the child domain controller is there.
Okay.
And if we upgrade now 2016, that domain controller is gone. I still need to say something else, but I'm taking questions now. Yeah.
So basically, if subdomain doesn't authenticate to the primary domain, right, with this upgrade, even the guys that's in London cannot authenticate to that subdomain, right?
Yeah. So if no, this is a actually topic of course 3 as well. But it is interesting to know here. Suppose you have, as I created before as well, there are 3 domains here, and this is the headquarters here, and this is Tor. But now, and this is NY, and this is London. The only thing is, we're now talking about, oh, okay, London. So only thing we're talking about, this is the parent domain, and this is a child domain, right? So child domain, and this is also a child domain, right? So the main rule here is, if you have suppose 1000 users here, and you have 20 users here, and you have 20 users here. So let me just make that so the concept will be clear. So 1000 users here, and then you have 20 users. These are smaller branches, suppose, right? So 20 users and 20 users. Now what happens is, the child domain has nothing to do in terms of replication. So this domain controller, whenever changes happen, it does not update the parent domain controller if it is part of the child domain. This is a specialty of a child domain, right? And this domain controller does not update this domain controller if it's a child domain and parent domain. So this is like a child that does not really follow the parent and say, who are you, dad?
So
I don't understand anything. Yeah.
Why then connected it to it? Is it because of policies?
The manually. So you, if this user wants to have access to resources in this domain, so you have to manually add that user there. Otherwise, they don't disturb each other's privacy.
Okay.
But if you want them replicate, then just make that branch part of the domain. This is still an upcoming topic in third course. But the thing is that if you want to create a child domain, this means you need complete privacy of your day-to-day administration. Then you go for child domain.
Okay.
Right?
So is there another domain, because there's child domain?
There's a tree domain as well.
There's
Other type is, so parent domain, child domain, tree domain. There are just 3 types.
Okay. So is there any domain that allow only the main parent to control? So even if they
Yes.
what one what is that?
So in that case, suppose you want the parent domain to actually have a control on branch network as well. So you will just make those domain controllers as replica DCs, which still is a topic that we need to cover in next classes. Replica DC is just a copy. So this means this branch will simply be part of the parent domain. You will not create any other type of domain here. This branch over the WAN will be connected to the parent domain and will be part of the parent domain. But we haven't created the replica DC yet, so that's why this concept also may not be very clear. But if you want them to talk to each other on daily basis, on every 3 hours, then you have to just make them part of that same domain. Do not create another domain in that case.
There's more question, but I don't want to get too.
Yeah, so yeah, then others are actually now scratching at that. What are we talking about now?
We need to understand this better because
Yeah, that's why I'm answering.
will
Yeah.
allow you to design the domain better.
And design is a 742 is the key, and it is totally discussed in 742. This is 740 course. But definitely what I was trying to say here is, if we go back to that discussion where on that page we are, right? So this domain controller, remember that I'm saying that this is a 2008 domain controller, DC. So if we say DC, always remember this is a domain controller. And you have a 2008 domain controller here as well. But here you have 2016 domain controller. So the only thing is that if you go back to this page, you must put the forest level as 2008, because you have these domain controllers in other branches. Within the forest, in other branches, you have these domain controllers, right? So once you have upgraded those domain controllers, so I'm just gonna go there, and now simply you went to that branch and you upgraded to 2016 now, and also this 2016. Now you can come back to forest level and you can go for upgrade to 2016. So latest features of forest will be implemented. Suppose there are domain controllers here and you cut them off by putting it like this. You knew there are domain controllers there, but I don't know, sometimes mistakes happen, right? And you went through that and next finish and activity installed. Now users are complaining from the branches, hey, I cannot log in, why? And pretty much all users are saying that. So then they will investigate and they will find out, hey, why did you make it 2016 there? We have older domain controllers. They all got disconnected now. So understand one thing, if it is a domain controller, then you cannot upgrade it to 2016. But another thing is, if you have a 2008 member server, 2008 member server, then okay, go ahead and upgrade. They don't have any effect on member servers. What is the difference between domain controller and member server? Active Directory. Domain controller is authenticating every user, so it is part of the elite. So you have to keep the forest function level backward compatible so the domain controllers can be easily upgraded to 2016 and then you can upgrade the final forest level, right? But member servers has nothing to do with that. Member servers do not authenticate, member servers do not authorize, member servers do not do AAA, right? Member servers are just, yes sir, domain controller, what do you want me to do, sir? So on member server you can install a file server, print server, web server, any other server, but they don't authenticate, right? So the username password is not authenticated from member servers. So if you have older member server, go ahead, no problem. If you upgrade your domain here 2016, it will not disconnect member servers, but it will disconnect the domain controllers. That's the point to understand here, right? So whenever, so this is what I'm typing here, Toronto branch, if there are older OS domain controllers and if we upgrade forest level 2016, then older 2008 domain controllers will be immediately disconnected. That's the point I just made right now, right? So, and then I'm gonna put the next point as well. If older OS servers are member servers, then you can go ahead and put the latest forest functional level, right? Because member servers are not affected. Member servers are not affected or not affected with forest level upgrades. So forest level affects only domain controllers, but do not affect member servers. That's the point. Do we understand the point, right? So member servers are harmless, and domain controllers are actually, your elite guards. You need to take care of them, right? They are your defense department, or so you have to be compatible with them at least. So this is where the forest functional level decision has to be very critical. So I'm just going to put that diagram here for this sub page. So this concept and this diagram you should once you have access to the OneNote, you will have all this material there. But let's just go ahead, guys. Oh, now we need to go actually. So here 2016, because we don't have older domain controllers, so we're going to stick to 2016. Now one more thing I want to show here. See this? If you go for 2008 here, then on the domain level you can also have these options there. So suppose on the top level you set 2008. On New York when you go, you will select this. In London when you go, you will select this. But in Toronto when you go, you will be still able to select this as well. Because the Toronto parent domain is on, those servers are on 2016. Suppose those are all on 2016. But when you visit the London and New York, they were on 2008. So you, on the domain level, you kept them on these according to their server's version. But on the domain level, when you went to Toronto, they are latest. So on the domain level, at least let them use the latest features there, because their domain controllers are 2016, right? So, but right now we don't have that kind of problem, so we're just going to go to 2016. Now, when you put 2016, do you have those options on the domain level? So yeah, as you said, you don't have any options now. Backward compatibility is not there anymore, right? So this is a important decision that you take when you are upgrading, right? Domain controllers will be affected, member servers will not be affected. That's the main point. So then DNS, so it's obviously without DNS you cannot even survive. It's like oxygen for Active Directory, right? So you have to have DNS installed. So it is selected. We're telling that, hey, Active Directory install and then install DNS as well. Global catalog server, what is that? So catalog, ever heard of catalog before? What kind of question is that? Yeah, catalog. So when you have catalog, so you do indexing, or in the catalog that's a long list of things. You do search inside that, right? So if you want to do forest wide search, and if the user log on, two things that global catalog really lets you do. One is forest wide search, and I think it is already available as a heading inside. Yeah, global catalog. It contains partial information of all objects in the forest, full information of the current domain it contains. So I'm just gonna put that full information of objects in the current domain, and partial information of all the objects in the forest. Now, when global catalog has full information and partial information, so suppose you want to search a printer, you're in Toronto, you want to search a printer in New York, so you put the printer NYPRT1, suppose somebody gave you a name, so the information will go to your global catalog server. It will check that, yeah, that printer is in New York, okay, and then it will search for you, and then you can double click. If you have access, you can use it. If you don't have access, you cannot use it. So if you want to search across the forest in any branch, any network source, global catalog server will help you do that, right? So we can just go for forest wide search and also use login. There has to be at least one global catalog server in your forest. So if there are two, you can delete one, but if there's one, you cannot delete that. Otherwise, the whole forest will go, right? So this is also in the one note as well. We understand that. So obviously this is our first forest, so first global catalog is supposed to be there. That's why even the option is grayed out. You cannot uncheck that right now. Read only domain controller. What is read only? So this domain controller is read and write domain controller. How do you know that? Because you can create users here, you can create everything, you can make changes here. Read only means no changes. Read only domain controller does not save users passwords. So suppose you are part of a company and your password is saved inside this domain controller, the read and write domain controller, first domain controller. So a hacker can attack on that first domain controller, and all the passwords are locally secured. If the hacker has the right tools and is genius, he or she can actually break in and grab your password from that read and write domain controller. But read only domain controller, there is no password saved locally. So when hacker attacks a read-only domain controller, there is nothing inside to attack. Hacker would go for a password, right? User's password on a domain controller. But read-only does not have any user's password stored locally. You can, yeah, then you cannot edit it. So then because the username passwords are not, or password hashes are not stored locally in read-only domain controller, they don't authenticate. So if you have a RODC in a branch, this means this is for security reason only. Suppose you've opened office in Nunavut, and there is just one small office and you have a closet there to put one server. So you will put a read-only domain controller there. So somebody just runs away with the server, and then at night trying to connect. Oh, it's a read-only domain controller. Okay, all of our bases. Oh, it's night, right? Let's just return the server. Nobody knows. Okay. Honeypot could also be the thing, which is a trap for hackers. Yes, sir. But you can put users technically. Suppose there are some users who want authentication quicker, and you can manually put the passwords of some users there with read-only domain controller. We're going to do that lab as well in 741 next course. But by default, there are no password hashes in read-only domain controller, and it does not authenticate because there are no user accounts to passwords there to authenticate. It does not authenticate, right? So yes. Oh, okay. So there, first one cannot be a read-only domain controller. First one has to be read and write domain controller, right? So guys, this lab was like 2 to 5 minutes lab, but we spent 2 hours here because that's what we are here for, right? We need to understand every option, every scenario, right? So let's go ahead and just go for DSRM. Now DSRM is directory services restore mode. When do you restore? Yeah. How do you restore? From what you restore? From a backup you restore. So from a backup, you take a if you've been taking backup every day, then you restore from backup. Oh, you created 100 users 2 weeks ago. Somebody deleted that folder. Let's go to the backup and restore 200 users again back, right? So if you want to go for that mode, you have to put a password there. So let's put that class password for our safe. Normally this password has to be different and difficult password, right? So small ABC, capital ABC, shift 1 2 3, and small ABC, capital ABC, shift 1 2 3. So we understand that normally, we have to discuss all forest functional level, domain functional level. We discussed that DNS, global catalog, read-only domain controller. So let's click next now. So this is just a restore mode where you restore from backup, right? So let's click next. Once we click next here, so the next screen, this screen shows up here and it says, hey, where is your DNS dedication? Because we're in the process of installing DNS now, we can ignore this. Because the DNS is not there, obviously it's not going to find a DNS here, because we're in the process of installing that. And besides, there is no other option here. We cannot do anything here anymore. So it's looking for a DNS, but we don't have it because we're in the process of installing that. So we can ignore this error. Click next. Now we have the NetBIOS domain name here. The next screen. NetBIOS domain name just means a single name of the domain. Single name access to domain. Normally Microsoft says, hey, if you want to connect to my network, you have to use something dot something. We have given that your first name domain dot local. If you don't put that, it won't let you connect that. But then with this page, it says, Microsoft says, even if you use the first name of our Active Directory domain, your application can connect to our Active Directory. So those Linux applications may not have been created with the Microsoft rules in mind. They want to connect through single name. So Microsoft says it's okay. Just use the first part of the domain name and you can also connect to Active Directory and retrieve all the users, right? So next. And then there is the database folder. So obviously this is the most critical folder. Active Directory is living inside C drive, Windows, and NTDS folder. Remember that this is a NTDS folder where Active Directory lives. All hackers know that, right? So log files, these are the log files or text files that will keep an account of what events happened on the Active Directory, and with a timestamp, those files will keep that. And those files are also living in the NTDS folder in this path. Sysvol folder. The sysvol folder is that if you put group policies live inside sysvol folder, and they are launched from sysvol folder to the users and computers across the network. Now, what is a group policy? Group policy is yeah. So an example would be, suppose your boss says, hey, can you block USB for all the New York users, right? Can you block USB for all the New York users? So you would go to a group policy, you would search, block USB. Okay, double click that and then enable it first, then attach it to the, organizational unit folder of New York users. New York OU, suppose you created an organizational unit yellow folder in Active Directory. So you can attach that group policy block USB. As soon as you attach the block USB to the folder and you had 2000 users inside that folder, all users will get that restriction. Next day when they come there and they put the USB, oh, what happened? Tuck, 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 and they're kicking the PCs and nothing is happening. USB is not detecting. Well, you went to group policy and you blocked that group policy and attached it to their folder. Now none of the users can use the USB now. So that group policy lives inside sysvol folder, and it is launched from sysvol folder over the network to all the users and computers. Suppose you delete the sysvol folder. Now you have selected the block USB, you attached it to the OU New York users there, and you expect it to work, ha 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 ha, and you're laughing, and next day they are still using USB. And the boss says, hey, didn't you implement the policy? I told you that. Then you investigate and say, oh, somebody deleted my sysvol folder. Sysvol folder is the launching area of group policies over the users and computers. Without this folder, you cannot launch group policies. And group policies is your strength. There are 1600 plus group policies, 1600 plus group policies. Block this, block this, block that, and blah, 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 right? You can deploy software over the group policies as well. And block and allow, block, 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 block. So there are 1600 plus combinations of group policies there. If they don't work, you're pretty much not very powerful anymore. And this sysvol folder launches those group policies over the network to all the users and computers. So this sysvol folder is very, very important, right? The definition for that is also in the OneNote. Okay, guys. So let's click next.
And that folder is created when the user authenticates first time.
This folder is creating now. Sysvol. This folder is being created now. So when Active Directory is installed fully, it is created now.
No, as a user when they authenticate to the server.
So at that time, suppose you attach the group policy to the OU and the 200 users are there. So when the user log in, at that time it is checked that is there a policy attached to the OU whose part is this user. That's all it does. When it is checked and implemented, then user can log in. So okay guys, let's click next here, and then this is the final summary here. That's what you selected, and click next again. Verifying prerequisites, it's going to verify that, and then it's going to show two warnings here. One warning is that, hey, if you have a very, very old Windows NT 4, then it will not communicate with your newer Windows 2016 domain controller. So we don't have Windows NT 4 old one, so we can ignore that. Second one is a delegation for this DNS. This is the same thing that you got before, that it is looking for a DNS, it could not find it, obviously because we're in the process of installing that, that's why it could not find it, right? So we can ignore these two warnings. If you go further down, it says prerequisites check completed, all prerequisite checks passed successfully. So we do that final install, and now it's going to install, it's going to restart. So wait for it to restart fully, and when it is restarted fully, you don't have to log in. Just from today, we're just going to try to right click, and there is a power. Don't do it now, don't do it now. Let it fully restart because it's installing Active Directory. Now is the critical part. So we're going to start doing the suspend guest from now on. Suspend guest means what? It is like it freezes the configuration. Whatever you were doing next class, when you unsuspend, it's going to be exactly on that screen where we left it. So just but let it restart. It's going to restart now automatically. It's going to give you a blue screen there that it is about to sign out. So it is, yeah. So it is about to sign out, and that is it. Like let it sign out here. It's, see this, you're about to be signed out. So don't click close, or if you click close, doesn't matter. If you don't click close, doesn't matter. It's about to restart anyway. Is it restarted already? No? Like it is stopped at the user, yes, or is it processing? So do not suspend now. So make sure it is stopped. It is on the user account, user login page. Yeah, other one can be shut down even because we didn't configure anything. Suspend is that we have configured so much now. So applying computer settings. Yeah, whenever it stops, no more processing going on, that's where we just suspend. So guys, repeat the concepts, try to independently read about them as well if you want, and create exact same environment at home, because you need to do repeat. Work hard now, give it your 200% and enjoy the rest of your life when you get a 35 per hour job.
Still didn't make fully sense to me, but
This is how it will be. This is normal.
These guys, and I was like, am I something wrong with me? Like, these guys knew already that that's why, right?
No, it's not that easy to understand. Don't expect everything to be very clear the first day, the first hour.
I was like,
Repetition. Those who are repeating, they are only going to go ahead. All others who are like, whoa, okay, no, difficult, that's it. Time pass and waste of time. Repeat, repeat, repeat. And don't expect right away.
So is it suspend guest or just
Suspend guest. So you're drinking honey as well for throat?
Everything.
Okay.
Garlic, lime.
Oh, garlic as well.
I get some smell. What is that? Like, is someone using any like
Here?
perfume or anything? Like, I don't
Here
know.
in this room?
Yeah. Because I'm kind of a, like, or maybe a sanitizer or
Sanitizer? No.
sanitizer or some cream.
No one else.
I use it.
you're not coughing. So
Oh,
don't
neighbors.
have panic. Sugar is pretty bad for your meal. Just chop up raw garlic and lime. And do you, if you don't have a bottle, when you get a cold, you get a lot of mucus. So get like a sea salt, mix it up with like a boiled water, cool it down like to room temperature, and then push it all over to your sinus and wash it up. I'm a weird guy. I kick like freezing cold shower. Like
Ew.
I work outside, so like
Okay. Cold shower is the worst nightmare
that's
for me. Okay, man. But yeah, once I had cold shower, it was the feeling after was wow. It's like the top of the world.
They say you take a cold shower right after you go to the gym and come out of sauna.
Ah.
You have to have like cold shower and you boost up your
I
energy.
had a little bit of a muscle tear injury,
Uh-huh.
so I bought this 10 sessions, like a Russian sauna, right into a, like there's like chunk of ice. You just dip into a ice water, then you go into a hot jacuzzi, and then you go back. You just do whatever you want. You just want to shock your body, because when you shock your body, your system is like, when they're in shock, your immune system is telling your brain, okay, I'm in shock. I need a special hormone. It's called growth hormone, right? It's growth hormone, GH. You know, when you get a cold or you catch a cold, that means your growth hormone is low. When you have high insulin in your body, usually obese people, they have more high insulin, right? Stress, all this can jack up your insulin. So, sugar, carbs, make sure put it down. Don't take too much calorie. So I don't know where you're from, but you know, Middle Easterns, we tend to eat way over our calorie intake. I learned it on my own because I lost like almost 26 kilos, right? So
Wow.
now I know exactly, kind of what was wrong with me.
So
Doctors here, just follow the diet.
yeah.
Nonsense.
No, but you go to cold water then to hot water. Doesn't it have adverse effects on your body? It's a good thing, actually.
Yeah, the feeling is like
Cold to hot and hot to cold, isn't it?
So you don't come
Bad.
out and sneezing and that.
Yeah.
No, what they say, like if they go to the sauna, they're not really taking a shower. You go into a hot place, like staying in the sun,
Oh, right.
and hot sun, and come out and having a cold bath.
Oh, okay.
it's an addictive feeling,
Okay.
right? You know, the gym.
He needs
I-
antibiotics. He's not getting that.
Sorry?
He needs antibiotics.
Yeah.
Nothing's gonna help him.
He lost his voice fully now.
So he doesn't have infection. Does he have infection?
Well, he's been like this for a week.
Antibiotics when you have fever, right?
No, also if it's a throat infection on the loose, that it's like not going away at all.
Exactly.
Then you go for the ultimate treatment.
Well, you see, my
Okay,
parents
guys.
are both doctors, right? So they never give me antibiotics unless I have infection or fever.
Then 2 thumbs up.
Right?
Your immune system should be better instead of antibiotics. So suspend, guys.
What do we do here?
See this? See this, guys? Right click and power, and go to this suspend guest.
Power.
It will freeze that configuration exactly here.
So can I just close now?
Yeah, you can shut down as well. No problem. Suspend guest.
Yeah. So
So it is done, right? Suspend guest. I'm showing there now,
Yeah.
and that's it. Gone.
Sorry, guys.
Other one shut down. Yeah, this server 2 we didn't do anything much there. Nothing to save here, so shut down. Shut down guest for server 2. Suspend for server 1. Although server 1 can be shut down as well, it's not that big deal. But I'm just showing you that we're going to be using suspend feature a lot. So shut down guest for server 2 and see you sharp 10 like me and on Wednesday. And please repeat. And I hope Mary creates a WhatsApp group for us.
So I just,
Yeah.
I'm ready here, so I get this closed.
That's it. Close.
I know, you didn't, I hope I will understand better tomorrow.
No, don't worry
In the
about
weekend, I was
not
like,
first day. No, don't worry about that.
you know, in the last 1 hour, I was like, I can't keep
I
my
see.
eyes open anymore.
Yeah, I was seeing that reaction.
I was like,
But yeah, it's not that easy. But since we're gonna be repeating that, and I told already that don't expect first time to understand everything. Even the first course student passed. Then the second course they started getting confidence. The third course they were like, okay, now I'm gonna do the first course, and then it's like,
There's a lot of overlap.
yeah,
So
it will repeat.
there's a lot of terms I heard in A plus and also Network plus that I'm hearing again.
so I didn't
Same
even,
thing as CCNA, a lot of terms.
Ah, yeah,
You keep hearing them again and again, and then it'll come together.
yeah. So you just have to you stay in, stay, yeah.
And you hear them like in different contexts.
so I went to
Exactly.
the library and I found that computer dictionary. That will help. Or?
Well, that's terminology. But if you go for an actual MCSA book, they give it with the context of MCSA. Computer dictionary could be a general term.
Oh,
It might not attach, connect
for
to.
MCSA, I can get a book like
Yeah.
somewhere like
MCS, yeah, if you go for MCSA 2016, any library should have it. If you just type MCSA
If I buy, where
2016,
can I buy it? Like,
oh, then it will be online, Amazon. And
any of the colleges some? No.
I think if you ask Mary, she might arrange for you that book as well.
It's better to have one.
But take it easy. Don't rush that. Oh, I have to understand it today. Strategic crystal clear, because if you were coming from a network background, it would have been easier. He is from that. He's also having more knowledge. But the thing is that don't be confused because I didn't get it today, so this means no, this period is not for me. So don't jump to conclusions.